Strap into your seats and get ready. It's time for the Mortarpod.
Alex and Jake here.
Sorry.
Just got done recording a podcast alongside Tristan Peterson from our meta. And we're about to watch Game of Thrones here in a couple hours. Just an hour, actually. Before this podcast starts, I want to remind you that it's brought to you by SeemsGoodMagic.com. It's a website I started about a year and a half ago. It's full of draft video content, drafts I've recorded alongside Jake, drafts I've recorded with guests, various guests, talked to a lot of people. It's got other podcasts that we've done on here, articles that we've written, my blog, all sorts of stuff about me and Magic the Gathering cards. So I urge you to go there and visit. This is also brought to you by BaronCamp.com. He designed SeemsGoodMagic.com. He did an excellent job. Always like to give him credit. Point people towards his website, which is BaronCamp.com, BeHRENKAMP.com. Jake, what do you think? Talk about our live stream a little bit. When do we live stream, Jake?
7 p.m. Central Time on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Have you had a good time with that?
Yeah,
doing
it's been cool. We have been doing full block lately, and when that gets stale, we do other things like we did Lorwyn block was the last non-standard block we did.
We've done Mercadian Masks, didn't we?
Didn't we do Mirage?
We did Invasion.
Yeah. So we do a lot of different stuff, and it's fun. Definitely check that out if you're interested in drafting.
Occasionally we do a late-night Commander thing. I've seen that once before. We make Commander decks and a couple other buddies. Ryan, who you may know, he actually helped to start the Mortarpod, and he's been a guest on here a couple times. But he has a Commander deck, and he's sort of gotten into that. So, and actually, if you want to communicate with me about maybe playing Commander alongside us or any other questions you may have for the podcast, email me at mortarpod@seemsgoodmagic.com. Follow my Twitter @SeemsGoodMagic. And above all else, enjoy this podcast. So Tristan Peterson from our meta, a little background on him. He tells you about his history of Magic in the podcast, but he's been, I didn't realize actually he played around 3rd and 4th edition, so that's kind of cool. But savvy player in our meta, and he's very good about pricing and sort of where the environment's at and stuff like that. So it was really cool to have him on the show.
He's good with Modern too.
Yeah, he is.
He knows a lot about Modern.
He plays a lot more Modern than I do, so he had some good insight during this podcast about that. So enjoy.
Cat wants to be part of the podcast.
Always, the cat always wants to be part of the podcast. Tristan Peterson.
Tristan Peterson.
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. He's from my meta. And actually, I think before we start with these sweet Modern Master spoilers, do you want to talk about your history in Magic? Because I'm kind of curious when you started.
Sure, yeah. I played when I was a kid. I'm talking like 8th grade, 9th grade, revised, 4th edition, and then I quit. And then between Innistrad and Dark Ascension, I came back.
It was a good time to come back.
Yeah. Straight up just bought the cards for Tempered Steel to get back into Magic and this competitive deck and played that. And then switched to Black-Red Zombies before it became popular. And then basically,
you did it before it was cool.
Yeah.
Magic hipster.
Yep, Magic hipster. That's me. Played that through the summer. Experimented with a lot of different things in Ravnica. Currently I'm playing Junk Rights. Play online a fair amount. Tristan Peterson MN is my handle online. So it's kind of me.
Okay, that's cool. So you mentioned you're playing Junk Rights in Standard right now. I'm kind of curious more about that deck because it's kind of had a few versions in the last few months.
Yep.
Where do you like it right now? Do you think it's in a good spot in the meta?
If aggro is aggro, I think it's in a decent spot as long as it's not playing aggro. It has tough matchups against aggro if it can the aggro decks get really fast draws. I mean, it can beat aggro. It's not like it can't beat aggro. But if the aggro gets a good draw, doesn't even have to be the nut draw. It makes things very difficult. You have to hit the Thragtusk. You have to hit the Lucky Angel in the graveyard.
Do you even do Centaur Healer anymore? Or?
I'm still playing Centaur Healer some.
Main deck or sideboard only?
I'm playing usually 1 or 2 in the main deck at this point in time. There's actually a new version that I haven't tried yet that won some premier events online. That's actually a 4-color Rights deck. I'm running Boros Reckoner and Harvest Pyre. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Guy ran a premier event. Jerry Thompson mentioned it in his Star City article on Premium most recently. So I want to try that out sometime. But I think it's still a good deck. It top 8'd just yesterday. It didn't do anything in the top 8, but it did make the top 8 still. So it's still out there, still relevant. But it does have difficult matchups versus aggro decks. And the aggro decks are a little bit slower now. Like the ones that were doing well yesterday are, they're not the 20-land aggro decks. They're the 22-land aggro decks. So they're a little bit slower, which Junk Rights is better positioned against those. But it can definitely lose to Blitz and Red Green aggro.
I see. And, so you talk your way through the control match with that deck. Why do are you confident with like the control matchups?
I am very confident with the control matchups as long as you can keep them off of Aetherling. The Aetherling decks.
Have you had to deal with that yet?
I've only encountered Aetherling once, and I did lose to it 1 game, but then Acidic Slime is such a powerful card if you can just keep them off of 6 land.
Yeah, I forgot that's that's like a relatively new aspect to the Reanimator deck, isn't it? The 4 main deck slimes or whatever.
I run 3, and I'm actually doing Sylvan Primordial on the sideboard because it's another slime, but it also is really good against flyers like Thundermaw, which can be a problem for Reanimator.
Yeah, I saw you using Sylvan Primordial.
Yeah. So, I think what's his name, Chris Van Meter was the really one who popularized slime right after Gatecrash came out with the 8-mana dorks
and the Restoration Angels,
3 to 4 main deck slimes. Restoration Angel was always part of the deck, whether it was a 3 or 4 of.
But like hitting those slimes is just.
I mean you hit the slime, bounce the slime, writes the slime. I mean it's kind of another. I mean they do similar things with Thragtusk, but the slime is just kind of a win con with just keeping them off of. I mean the mana bases are pretty greedy in a lot of decks, so you just keep them off of color. If you get it out early enough, you can keep them off of hitting even 4 land. So
yeah, you can keep them off like a Symbol of the Legion and stuff too. So that's kind of cool.
Yep, hits enchantments.
The Tension Sphere and O-Ring are actually kind of good outs against your Angel.
Yep.
So being able to like take those out is huge.
Yep. And then also Ground Seal or Rest in Peace. I mean the 2 really big hit cards.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess that's a good point. So. Rest in Peace is particularly good because all it has to do is come in and it gets to exile the graveyard. So then at that point it's almost like it's done its job.
Yep.
So that is a pretty good graveyard hate. But I mean, the cool thing about Rights too is it doesn't have to res. That's just like it's got the early game plan. Res the Angel on turn 4. But alternatively, it can be like just hard casting stuff later because you even run Cavern of Souls at least at 1 of or something.
2 usually. The late game for Rights is almost unbeatable. I've only lost 1 late game ever, and that was to an Esper Control deck, which has a pretty good late game too. But otherwise, if I can survive the early game against aggro, I'm going to win. If I come up against control, I'm pretty confident just in general, as long as I can keep them off of Aetherling. If they resolve an Aetherling and I don't resolve enough Thragtusk, then I'm going to lose. So
yeah, because I can put them. That is interesting. We were kind of speculating on Aetherling, I think, when we first saw it spoiled. You remember that? I mean, it was. I think you even at the time said it was going to be a good control card. I guess we didn't anticipate it was going to be a good control card before the rotation.
Yeah,
sure.
So that was kind of unexpected. That it's already good enough to be the control answer. I mean, once they get to like 8 mana, they can play it and protect, like blink it twice, right? So then it's like that much protection's huge. Yeah. So excited to play with. Are you going to be picking that up in the next season or what?
I think so. I think I'm going to probably be playing with it.
Have you tried it yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
I could easily add it to the deck I have built right now. I haven't played much lately for standard, but that's okay.
Been doing those drafts, so that's good enough. All right, well, let's jump into some Modern Master spoilers here. So, Addercar Valkyrie, I remember when this card was originally printed in Cold Snap.
Mhm.
It's a 4 and 2 white, 4/5 flying vigilance snow creature, by the way.
Yeah.
Angel. And when target creature other than Addercar Valkyrie dies this turn, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So it was kind of a cool card because it, obviously worked well with removal, and it was kind of cool with like a sweep effect
Yeah.
too, where it's like I've got a Wrath of God, so I'm just gonna like target that creature and then Wrath of God, and then you sweep
Or
and you get the best creature on their side back, or
you
your
have-
own creature.
Yeah, you have 2 out, and you just target each of one with the other's ability.
Yeah,
And
notice how it
so-
can't target itself, so that is kind of important. Otherwise, that would be really insane.
Yeah, and it's vigilant, and then I'll just target itself.
Yeah, and that's always cool too, because it feels like it's on rare where you have vigilance plus a tap activated ability, because that's so good. You get to attack and use it. What are some other examples of that? Really, I don't even know.
High Arcanus or whatever from Time Spiral.
And what was his tap ability?
He was vigilant and tap to do Maze of Ith.
Oh wow,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's real good. Is
And
that
it was
attack? Wait, that's just attacker, right?
Yeah.
Maze of It.
Mhm.
Okay.
But he could use it on himself,
After combat
and then
damage.
also use it on your opponent.
Yeah, that's a
or
good
on your
point.
opponent's
No, that's a
attack
really good
the
point.
next
Yeah,
turn,
that's cool.
because it does untap the creature. Yeah, these cards this card was really good in particular. I could have seen it justified at Mythic.
Now, is this a staple of Modern? It's like maybe I don't. So I don't.
I don't think it's all supposed to be. I think they're just supposed to be a lot of cool cards in Modern too. I mean, there's
no sense, yeah.
yeah, like white isn't really highly played in Modern, even, is it?
There's a couple decks. There's the Soul Sisters deck. That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
heavy into white, and
That's
then
right.
there's a token deck that's pretty heavy into white.
Okay.
Other than that, the decks that run white, from my experience, and this is mainly just online, it's usually the pod decks are usually running kitchen picks and things like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, they had to fill up this color.
Yeah.
I feel like with
cards that probably aren't even
I know,
seeing
I-
play.
I-
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't even realize this was legal. It's kind of weird that Cold Snap's legal in
Even though
Modern.
it's supposed to be like a retro.
Yeah.
print.
That's you know what I mean.
Yeah. No,
That's the
it
part of
it's
I see
part
that.
of Time Spiral block is how it's considered in like the timing and stuff. So
But,
that's why
yeah,
it's part of Modern.
But the explanation to Cold
Yeah.
Snap is that it's supposed to be like a follow-up set to
It's supposed to be
Ice
like the
Age.
long lost Ice Age set when it's story is completely fabricated though, so don't believe that.
I'm
It's
sure
like-
they admit that too.
Yeah, they do.
It was
Because
just-
it's like way too well developed like
but
to
Ice
be part
Age,
of that block.
Ice Age was a set that didn't have like a proper finish, you know?
No, it didn't. I mean, Alliances was like okay, and it actually did tie up that story.
It had a couple.
It just-
Did it have a couple snow-related things too, or not?
Yeah, it had like 2 or 3. Like Storm Elemental,
Is still
And-
a snow something?
yeah, Snowland, and what is that?
They had
the
some-
Homerid.
They had Snowland.
Sack
They
of
had Snow Alliance land too, or
Uh,
snow-covered land.
no, they didn't have any Snowlands in Alliances. They didn't do anything snow other than mention it like 2
That
or
must
3
have been so
times.
hard to do limited with. Then you know.
Yeah, it's like, well, plus you don't even get snow-covered lands in limited
Even-
unless you're in Seal.
Well, even Cold Snap was a bitch for that because in Cold Snap you had to draft your snowlands, so they were like suddenly became a higher pick. They
Mhm.
were like Guild Gates and these,
Yeah,
you know,
it's true.
Oh, yeah.
where you just valued them.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is Angel's Grace. I remember this one for sure. 1 white instant has split second. You can't lose the game this turn, and your opponents can't win the game this turn. I love that they can't win either.
Yeah.
That's even
Oh,
better.
and you can't win.
Until in a turn, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. And notice that it's damage though, so you can still
Make
lose.
them lose life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is actually a really cool card. This was a really interesting card because it was sometimes played alongside like packed cards
Mhm.
that were able to kill you, and this actually like
Yep.
kept you from losing
God.
to it.
I'm trying to think of how it was. I feel like it was actually something they used with like Pact of the Titan and
Yeah,
Jin Illuminatus.
yeah, because it was a free spell, so you could
Yeah,
just keep
so
replicating it.
replicate it, and then Angel's Grace on my turn, split second, so you can't respond to it
Yeah,
either.
you can't counter it. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool that it's in Modern. Is there any combo using that card right now? Or?
I've never seen it.
You can counter
constructed
somebody's
modern play.
counter a coalition victory.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how it's used in Modern.
I thought they printed one of the packs in Modern Masters.
They
Yeah,
could've.
Pact
I
of
guess
Negation is
Yeah.
definitely
Oh, Pact of
and
Negation.
Summoner's Pact, I think.
Yeah,
is in
Summoner's
too.
Pack was the one I was thinking.
That's
of.
the green one. Yeah, that one's
Which
good.
does see significant play
Mhm.
in actual modern construction.
Even Negation does too, right?
Yeah.
It's like a one of.
It's
in
like
that.
the way that combo decks prevent stuff from
Yep.
happening to them, like and winning that
on
turn.
the turn that
Yeah,
they're gonna win.
yeah.
They just do pack. That is pretty sick.
Yeah.
But it's like hard to play that card more than like a one of in your deck, because it's a little maybe a two of, but
Maybe two.
It feels like
I feel like 4 is like, I have 3 Pact of Negation in my hand. I can't even play this card until turn 5.
I mean it is eventually it's still you're paying 5 mana for a counter spell on your
Yeah.
turn or you're losing,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
you gotta be conscious of that. Auriok Salvagers is the next card. 4 mana, 2/4 human soldier. 2 mana ability, return target artifact card with converted mana cost 1 or less from your graveyard to your hand.
I think this was originally printed at Uncommon, actually.
Let me check. Auriok Salvagers? And why would they bring it back at rare? That seems... yeah, it was.
I
And
think-
5th Dawn.
Sure.
I think Court Homunculus makes it very good, and that's in the set right
Court
there.
Homunculus is a 1 mana 1/1 that gets +1/+1 as long as you control another artifact.
They probably just didn't want people to be like, oh, just pick up a million Court Homunculus and grab 2 or 3 Auriok Salvators, because at Uncommon it would be very easy to get it.
Yeah.
And like at Rare, it's actually,
Draft, yeah.
it's not something you want to go, Auriok Salvators, yes, first pick.
First pick.
But the person getting the Court Homunculuses definitely wants it.
Yep.
How many
Homunculi.
how many sick artifacts in Modern are there? Or that are going to be in this set even? Are there some good ones?
There's Dispeller's Capsule and Executioner's Capsule are both 1 mana artifacts in this set alone. They also have Ether Spellbound, Vial,
Ether Vial.
Yep.
That's a pretty cool one.
Engineered Explosives, Lotus Bloom,
Spell Bomb.
Relic.
Is good.
You can't get Relic back
No.
unless it's like put there some other way.
You can get Lotus Bloom back though, right? You can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That is cool.
Rebuy Lotus Bloom over and over is really good.
I just noticed Academy Rings is coming back too.
So
for listeners, we're just doing the rares, by the way. I mean, we're
Yeah.
going to bring up some commons, but we're going to try and just jam through these rares.
yeah,
They're
because
coming
this
back.
is like the important stuff that people want to buy this set for.
Yeah, the
The
rest
commons
is,
and
yeah,
uncommons. They're cool. They do a limited strategy with them, but I mean, we can just touch on what the limited strategies are. Even we don't have to go into great gory detail about it.
yeah. I mean, I'm not even sure yet. I kind of have to look at each color to kind of figure out
Well, there's obviously an artifact theme. We can just
in
get
the
that one out.
in white, or do you think it's going to?
It's probably
go to all-
white, blue,
Blue,
but
white, yeah.
and they
I'd say so.
maybe even touches into Esper because I know Executioner's Capsule is in this, but Ether Sworn Canonist is coming up too, so there's
Yeah.
already another good artifact in this.
Yep.
So, what do you think about before we go into the next card? The pricing on this whole Modern Masters thing, and you know what I mean? Because like boxes are currently like $275
It's-
to $300.
It was not justifiable before the cards were spoiled that people were doing that, but now that the whole thing is spoiled, I feel like it's actually a much more reasonable price for what you potentially can get from this.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I'm sure people are curious. Do you even think it's a good investment?
I personally think if you buy it, you might not want to open it if you buy a box. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. What do you think?
I'm kind of torn on it, and I looked at buying a box. Online, the cheapest I found them were about $260.
Mm-hmm.
I know our local shop is selling them. He said he'd give me a deal at $265, plus tax. Online, you're paying shipping, which is another $13, $15. So still, you're in that $280 range.
Yeah.
Definitely some good cards in here. For someone like myself who didn't play during a lot of these sets, if I wanted to get these staples,
Mm.
am I better buying a box? Am I better buying singles? Like, we're coming up on Elspeth here. I happen to have a couple that I purchased.
Yeah.
She's a great staple. She doesn't see a ton of play in Modern right now, but I think that will change.
Mm-hmm.
But what does she go for? Paper card. 25?
25, 30 bucks.
So, if I wanted to buy a playset of Elspeth, I could spend $100 to get a playset of Elspeth, or I could spend $300 to buy a box where I could potentially get some Goyfs, potentially get some other stuff.
Yeah.
But most likely, I'm not going to walk out of the box with less than maybe not even any Elspeth.
Right.
At the most, maybe one, maybe two.
And what's the price per pack right now? Like on average for a Modern Masters pack?
It's like 10 to 13, I would say, in that range.
I mean, think about that. You really have to be getting some good rares out of your packs.
My problem with buying a box to open it for these cards is that you're not going to get all of the cards that you need, like you said. So if you need these cards specifically, one or two or three, even 5 of these cards, buy the cards. Do not buy a box
unless you're buying Goyfs.
exactly. But even then, it's like you have to be guaranteed a Goyf out of each of those boxes to even.
And he's been upgraded to Mythic too. People weren't aware.
Right, and that's actually the change that really makes this,
They've upgraded a few up to Mythic.
A few Dark Confidant is Mythic now.
The dragons, right?
Yeah. Well, those aren't really played in Modern.
And they're not worth that much. No. So that one's like...
It's just funny that they did it.
Yeah.
They could have done a different cycle if they wanted to do a Mythic
We're
cycle.
talking 24 packs, too. I mean,
right.
Your standard 36.
So you're getting 2/3.
12, 12 less packs than what you normally get out of a box. So, I mean, buyer beware. You are not... If you intend to open this and be like, oh, sweet, I got all of these great cards I need for my Modern deck, that's not what's going to happen unless you only need commons and uncommons. Because you're not going to get all the rares you need from one box.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money to spend on a box.
And your store, Hobby Goblins, the store that we all play at, is doing Modern Master drafts, and it's going to be $45 to buy in, which is expensive, but I mean, I'm still going to do it. I mean, I'd still like to have the limited experience.
I'd like to do it.
And that's a little more affordable than buying a box, I would say. But and I mean, it's funny to note that they can't even like give out the prizes in all Modern Master packs because it's like
it would just jack the price of it when actually
they're too expensive.
Yeah, actually, I think Dave and I were talking about doing it at the one time at the suggested retail price for like.
Just Modern Master prizes, or
just for the draft and just for like a certain amount of people that we knew would really want to do it.
Sure.
So anyway, that's something that would be a cool idea for other stores to do for their great customers.
Yeah, I guess
because it's $6.99 is suggested retail.
MSRP,
yeah. So
and my understanding is. Stores like Walmart and Target are not going to be the main product. It's only going to
specialty shops.
Yeah, specialty shops.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that Walmart gets like specialty 6 to 8 card packs or something like that. And I've bought those packs before and I've looked at them and it's almost like the printing. It's almost like the ones that Magic had printing color issues with are like sent to Walmart. I'm not joking. Like I've consistently like I could see Walmart. And they're probably the only company that can even, finagle a deal like that with Wizards, where it's like, no. I feel like Walmart's the one that would step in and be like, we're gonna tell you how we're gonna do it. we want these 6 to 8 card packs so we can sell them at this because they sell them for like $2. I think it's $2 little mini packs.
They're actually kind of cool.
You're not guaranteed a rare either, which is a very interesting aspect of them. But I've pulled a foil Day of Judgment out of one before, which
you
is
can get sick cards out of them for sure. So
it's not a complete ripoff. They do actually have like rares in them and sometimes sick ones. But it's I don't know. It's an interesting.
It's a cool way to do impulse buy at a large retailer.
Yeah, because it's like $2.
Yeah. Get like 3 of them.
Or 20 of them.
My kid, who wants those. Yeah. Like, grab 3 for yourself. Yeah, 20. My adult friend who, has his own income, but get 20 for yourself.
But it's just funny because I'm almost positive Walmart is the only company that has those specialty Magic
I don't
packs.
think Target even got them either.
I haven't seen it anywhere else besides Walmart. So I know that they had some PR guy that was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have specialty packs. Looks like same picture for Cloud Goat Ranger.
I think
he's coming back.
I think they used a lot of the same art.
5 mana, 3/3. It was just like the really special cards that they changed the art for, like Dark Confidant. I haven't even seen the new Goyf art, so I should look at that.
It's better. It's better than the old Goyf.
All right, Cloud Goats. 5 mana, 3/3 giant warrior. When he enters the battlefield, you get 3 1/1 white Kithkin soldier creature tokens, and you can tap 3 untapped Kithkin you control, and Cloud Goat Ranger gets +2/+0 and gains flying. He was actually a really
this
highly.
card was crazy in standard.
Yeah, it was a highly played constructed card, very efficiently costed for what you get. It like completely clumps up the board. It gives you a flying blocker the turn you play it. It really is like it guards you on and gives you a good offensive. So I really like this card a lot.
Lorwyn had like great creatures, just great.
Awesome they had a tribal theme, and Kithkin in particular had a very specific good aggro strategy at the time that was just like tons of 1-drops and kind of hinged on like Wizened Sends and Kinsbale Border Guards at a certain point.
Yeah, once Morningtide was out.
Yeah, it was a really annoying deck, but and then of course Fairies took over at that point. But there was a time where Kithkin was on top for a little bit. And Cloud Goat Ranger was played in that, but Cloud Goat also made appearances in control decks, just because it was like...
It was in the tokens deck.
Yeah, it was a great...
played in Johnny Goldman.
That was a great... You're right. That was a great tokens card, too.
With Windbrisk Kites, this was like, oh, I've got my Windbrisk Kites activation right here. And they might have actually reprinted Windbrisk Kites. I feel like they did.
That was the most played hideaway land, definitely.
Mm-hmm. It was the easiest to trigger.
Yeah, the hardest ones to trigger. The red one you had to have... No, the green one you had to have huge power.
No, black was the hardest.
Black was you had
Nobody could have
how many
a card
creatures?
In their hand. Nobody could have a card in their hand.
That is too difficult. Yeah.
And then blue, where it was like
20 or less cards.
Yeah, in somebody's library.
And that's actually insane in Cube, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, and we actually saw it too, because we did a couple Lorwyn block.
Yeah.
But that card's really insane in Cube because you make 40 card decks. Mm-hmm. So it's like you get down to 20 cards.
Very quickly.
You start off at 33.
Yeah. It's actually not that bad in limited, but much worse in constructed. Anyway, Cloud Goat, it's cool to see it again.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. I'm sure it's an awesome limited card too. It's gonna be awesome in limited.
Yeah, it's
very efficiently costed.
It's like what is that, Geist Honored Monk, except one better or whatever, one more creature.
All right, so Tristan mentioned Elspeth earlier. Elspeth Knight Errant. Make an appearance, coming back. She was originally from Shard's block, and she was
first double pump planeswalker.
Yeah, she was extremely powerful at her time. Very played all over the place, but she's 4 mana. She's 4 loyalty, and it's +1. Put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. +1 target creature gets +3/+3 and gains flying until end of turn. And then -8. You get an emblem with artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and lands you control are indestructible. Interesting to note that the original Shards version did not. This was pre-emblem.
Yeah.
So what did
the rest of the game?
Is that is that all they said? Oh, just for the rest of the game. So yeah, just for the rest of the game, artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and lands you control are indestructible. Yeah. So now they changed it. They made it an emblem.
It's cool though because they've actually shown that they can do other stuff with emblems. Mm-hmm. Koth emblem is even vastly different from this one.
Do you think they needed to make something called emblem?
I think it's much better than saying for the rest of the game, because now you can print like something that you can put out. For example, Soren's like emblem, you wouldn't be able to do that with for the rest of the game.
Yeah, because it's you can have multiple emblems.
Like, so now my creatures are +3/+3, you know, like if it just says for the rest of the game.
Yeah, if you have something tangible to represent it, typically then. I mean, good card. She sees playing Modern. She's not like a core center of Modern, but mainly I've seen her see playing like token decks. But even then, she's usually only like a 1 or 2 of, and sometimes a 0 in the token decks. But that's where she's presently seen play from my experience in Play Modern.
She's really good. She's really good next to Soren, Lord of Innistrad, with the flying ability.
Did you play her during when she was in Standard?
Yeah, I play pretty much every Planeswalker I can when it's in Standard.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Aethersworn Canonist. Actually, before we go on, we should mention too. We didn't mention this. You do only get 24 packs out of the Modern Masters box, but each pack does have a foil, which is kind of unique to these Modern Masters packs.
No basic lands.
Right, no basic. The set doesn't even have basic lands in it. and there is a foil in each pack.
So think about this: you are getting guaranteed 24 foils, and there's a chance that you could get like a sick mythic foil,
or even a rare foil. On some of these would be really expensive.
Yeah.
I'm sure Kataki. I know Kira is in this set, so some of them are really good.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Aethersworn Canonist, originally from Shards block as well. 2 mana, 2/2 artifact creature, human cleric. That's a pretty unique creature type, isn't it? An artifact human. Do they have that a lot?
Only in Esper.
That's
much.
Yeah, that's really strange. Each player who casts a non-artifact spell this turn can't cast additional non-artifact spells. This, of course, was a great out against the Storm deck.
Yeah.
But does it see Modern sideboard play now for a different? What's the deck that like Scapeshift or something that casts multiple?
Affinity.
Affinity. I've run it in the sideboard for Affinity. I'm presently not running it in the sideboard, but it has seen. It was mainly when Seething Songman against Storm.
So what are like the kind of combo-ish multiple spells in one turn decks now?
I mean, Storm is still out there. I mean, John Finkel played it at a GP and did well. I encountered online. I mean, with the Goblin Electromancer and different things. So it's still out there, still relevant. I mean, there are Storm decks that exist. How strong they are, in the current modern meta is, I think, a good question, but I don't know the answer.
That's cool that Finkel is still sticking with Storm. He always sticks it out with Storm, man. All right, you mentioned this one, Kataki Warsmage.
Let me just say, as an Affinity player, I hate this card.
Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a 2 mana, 2/1 legendary creature spirit. All artifacts have at the beginning of your upkeep sack this artifact must be a 1. So clearly a important modern sideboard card against Affinity. Are there any other decks that run just a ton of artifacts or anything like that?
Before the most recent banning where the Eggs deck lost some power with the banning of Seven Sunrise, it was sideboard card.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I could see that.
Interesting. So that's obviously there's like a functional staple reprint sort of example that this set is doing. Revelark. Oh my god, I remember this card.
Yeah.
5 mana, 4/3 flyer. When Revelark leaves the battlefield, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, it also has Evoke for 6 mana. And this card was involved.
Just wanted to throttle Randy when he played that deck.
This card was involved with a combo. You'd have a body double in your graveyard, and you would have a mirror entity. And I'm trying to think exactly how the combo worked. You'd activate mirror entity's activated ability, which is X. Each creature you control becomes XX until end of turn, and you would just do it for 0, but you would just keep triggering it.
You would put like a large number on the stack of that ability, all for 0, just on the stack, and then you would let them resolve one at a time. You have a Revelark on the board, you have a body double on the board, or that's a copy. No, you just need it in your graveyard or on the board or whatever. When everything dies from the first trigger, you get to return 2 creatures, so you get back something that has a comes into play ability like Mulldrifter, or
oh yeah, that's right, that one for sure.
The life gain one from Planar Chaos that when it came in or when it left the battlefield, you gain 2 life. It was
the Aven Watcher or Aven
Rift Watcher, yeah. And then Body Double. You get Body Double back as a copy of Revelark. Then the next trigger for 0 resolves, killing everything you control again. Your Revelark leaves play,
you're right. That's how it
trigger
works.
Or it comes back, and you do it again. So you do it all until you'd
gain a bunch of life.
Yeah, you'd either gain a bunch of life, draw a million cards, or some other effect. And then you'd end it by having your Body Double as a copy of Revelark on the battlefield, and your Mirror Entity on the battlefield, because it's a 1/1. So you would have the combo set up and ready to go off again if your opponent tried to do something to disrupt you. Yeah. And the other thing was Glenalendra Archmage once Eventide was out. Sure. So then it was infinite counter your whatever.
She still sees modern play. Actually, is she getting reprinted?
Yeah, she is.
I feel like she had to be. Yeah. God, was she annoying.
She is so annoying.
God,
in this deck in particular.
Creature counterspells with evasion. They don't need to print that. I'll say that.
Thankfully, it was like only countered non-creature spells, but it still sucked.
All right, the next one's Stone Hewer Giant. This card was always way fun.
Yeah.
And it's funny that it like didn't see any constructed play at the time that I know of.
No.
When it was in standard, it was just too slow. But
Yeah,
it was
fairies.
5 mana, 4/4 with vigilance, and it had 1 and a white tap. Search your library for an equipment card. Put it onto the battlefield. Attach it to a creature you control. I mean,
another vigilance tap ability.
Oh, you're right. That is one. That's awesome. But Stone Hero Giant's awesome.
Yeah,
what a great card. You get to, and you multiple times, and it automatically just attaches it for you.
So much more fair than Stone Forge Mystic.
Well,
just search this up.
Well, and like you
drop
said,
it for free.
because of the vigilance, it's like I'll swing with my Stone Healer. Are you gonna block it? Either way, it's like a double-edged sword.
Yep.
You get to search for, you get to tutor for the best equipment for that situation, whether they're blocking or whether they left it unblocked.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
I'll just go get Batterskull and attach it to it.
Ugh.
That's dirty.
Yeah.
Batterskull is so dirty.
Or G.
But it's funny that they reprinted this, or are printing it in this set, because it really didn't see that much play, even though it's a really cool card. I bet it's amazing in Commander.
Yeah, it is an amazing Commander card for commanders that care about equipment or artifacts, for sure.
Yeah.
But it is cool. I like it.
Okay, Yosai, the Morning Stars. This is the white legendary dragon from the Kamigawa block. And it's a 6 mana, 5/5 legendary dragon spirit. They all are dragon spirits. And it has flying, and when it dies, target. And they all activate when they die, too.
Yeah.
So that's like sort of the theme of all these dragons. When Yosai, the Morningstar, dies, target player skips his or her next untap step, and then tap up to 5 target permanents that player controls. So it's a pretty cool ability. I mean, you tap down their 5 most important permanents, and then they don't get to untap. So with this one, see, this is like before we started playing competitively. This was like a downtime.
This one definitely saw play as like a multiple in a deck for sure, because you drop 2 of them and they both go away. And then they skip their next 2, right? You skip, it's because it's not their next turn's untap step. They skip their next untap step.
So it like stacks.
Yeah, so like you play a second one.
They'd skip 2 turns of untap.
You tap 10 permanents, they skip 2 turns of untapping.
Wow.
That's pretty much dead. You're dead, like if you have anything else on the board.
Yeah, that's huge. Alright, we're into blue counter spells and other crazy rares. Cryptic Command is the first one. This was part of a cycle of command spells from Lorwyn, and Cryptic was pretty easily the best one.
Yeah.
I think the only instant already makes it the best one, I'd say.
Yeah, but I mean, just the abilities they put on it.
Yeah.
You get to, all the commands had choose 2. And this one is counter target spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand, tap all creatures your opponents control, or draw a card. And they're all choose 2 with 4 choices.
Yeah.
So this one was most often fairies. It was played in fairies, and most often it was.
It could be counter draw or counter bounce.
I feel like tap counter was pretty devastating too.
I don't think tap counter happened as often for fairies because they were usually countering your first few plays anyway.
Yeah,
unless you were really aggressive.
No, that's a good point. It was usually, I felt like, counter draw.
Yeah.
That is true. And counter draw hurts so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always hurts so much.
God, there was nothing more annoying than playing against fairies.
And now in Control you have to deal with this with Snapcaster. So you have to see.
That's fine. Like, let him pay 4 blue.
But it's just obnoxious.
Yeah.
So Cryptic Command, definitely an important card in Modern. All the control decks. Was an important card in Standard. Just so much versatility.
Does it see a lot of play in Modern?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Like, there must be, what are the control decks like in Modern?
There's a couple different ones. There's blue-white. I think the strongest one's probably the American one, which does not play Cryptic Command. I mean, maybe a one-off just because the triple blue and 3 colors is difficult. Where it sees play is Twin.
Twin
decks.
That makes a lot of sense.
They play it, and I mean, and it's really relevant. I mean, I've had it played most often against me in the mode of tap down on my creatures, draw a card, because I'm playing Affinity and I just have this huge board.
Yeah.
And then they go off the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely sees playing. It holds a pretty heavy price tag, if I remember.
Yeah, I think it's like $20 or something, at least.
Maybe
25, 30.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And this had a foil textless version too. One of the best cards to give a textless version to, if I ever.
That's
it's
hilarious.
got 4 different modes, and I get to choose 2.
But you do have to admit,
the game.
you do have to admit that you're kind of happy that they printed it, though. Not only because it was a cool card, it was like it always felt like with Texas cards, they always printed them on cards that like weren't played. So I was like, shit, I'm never gonna play this Texas card.
They did it on Damnation and Day of Judgment.
No, they did it on some important cards for sure.
rares,
They did it on
it was
Lightning, and they did it on, or maybe not Lightning.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
And they did
Yep,
Terminate.
Lightning
They did
and
Cruel Edict.
Lightning Helix.
Rampant Growth. Yeah.
So they did it on cool cards, but you have to admit they did it on some worthless cards too. There was a Remove Soul one, and they had like just gotten rid of Remove Soul, and they were still sending me Remove Soul
I remember
ones
that.
when they still had rewards. Weren't those the days when you actually got something for playing a bunch of Magic?
I know. They're spending an ass load of money.
But anyway, Cryptic Command is insane,
Yeah.
and it is going to
It's worth every
stay
penny.
insane. I wonder if it's just too slow for Legacy. I'm sure all they need in Legacy is Force of Will and Days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, Days is
Annoying.
totally annoying.
Gifts Ungiven. Yeah, this is an oldie and a goodie. 4 mana, rare, instant. Search your library for up to 4 cards with different names and reveal them. Target opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Put the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest into your hand and shuffle your library. So, Tristan, how's this played in Modern?
Sees quite a bit of play. Most of the time it's in some type of Embarrass Rights deck.
That's pretty cool.
Where they just search up.
One of the other.
Yeah,
like,
I'll search up Elspeth, or not Elspeth. Search up. Gosh, she's a white card. She's a legendary cycle in New Phyrexian. I can't think.
Oh, Elish Norn, yeah.
Elish Norn. There we go. I'll search up Elish Norn and Embarrass Rights. Choose 2. Oh, I have to choose these 2.
Yeah, because it's up to.
Yeah, or I'll search up Grizzlebrain and something. I mean, it's some type of rights deck is using this.
That's pretty cool.
That's very obnoxious.
That's
actually.
still the res target in Modern, huh? Elish Norn.
She's one of them.
And what is the other one?
There's multiple.
I guess there's plenty of good
Elish
creatures to
Norn
choose
I
from.
see most often because I'm playing Affinity and she just wrecks me.
Yeah, she makes the most sense too. As far as a res target, she changes the board that dramatically.
She was really annoying
Yeah.
and constructed
Yes.
too.
God, she was so much fun to play with though. I loved her. I love it all.
Straight up one-sided board sweeper, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden your little Squadron Hawks are insane little 3/3
Oh,
flyers too.
It's funny that if you and your opponent both control Elish Norn, the only creatures that are affected by it are the Elish Norns under the new legendary rule.
Oh, sure.
How ironic.
The irony.
In the middle of July.
Yeah.
Galenolindra Archmage, we were just talking about this card earlier. 4 mana, 2/2 Fairy Wizard with flying, 1 and sack it, and you counter target non-creature spell, and it has persist. Notice that it's non-creature as well, so it's not even just instant sorcery.
Yeah.
It's
It was actually, it's very debilitating.
Yeah, it's
as far as
phenomenal
what are you gonna
card.
do against it.
It's like a wall of counter spells
Yeah,
that you see on the
right.
board.
It's like, so I have to throw 2 removal spells at this creature.
And it also is getting damage in on you,
Yeah,
basically.
God, this thing was so annoying. In the Rebel Arc deck, this was so annoying.
Yeah, good card.
Yeah, it is.
Funniest part about it, didn't see any playing fairies. It's like too slow, unnecessary.
It didn't flash. That was the...
Yeah, you're right.
It's not even doing
And it's a fairy. All right, Taiga, the Tide Star is another. It's kind of interesting that they didn't maintain like a pattern with the mana cost on the dragons.
Yeah, it was
she's different.
They're all 6 mana.
Yeah, but not color-wise, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is a 6 mana 5/5, and it flies, and when it dies, gain control of target creature. It's pretty good. It's like a little mind control when it dies. But that thing would be sweet and limited.
I would imagine.
It's like you don't want to kill it. They're gonna take your best creature.
Any of these mythic dragons in a modern draft is going to be just pretty
debilitating, right? And I guess that's why they kind of had to make it mythic. Yeah. It's probably, I mean, if you look at the other mythics in this set and how much more money they're worth, it feels weird that they put these at mythic, but it's totally for the draft and they're not doing like any sort of sealed, right? It's just straight up draft for. Or are they doing sealed Modern Masters too?
The Modern Masters GP, I could be wrong, but I want to say is sealed.
Wow.
Just like any normal sealed GP.
That must be expensive sealed. Holy crap.
Day 2 would be a draft. Jake, do you know, is the GP, is it sealed? The Vegas GP?
Oh. Gosh, I really don't. I know it's Modern Masters.
Might as well check. Why not? We got a computer here. Let's just check. Modern Masters GP Vegas. What kind of information we got about it? It is sealed. You are correct, sir.
Sealed deck, yeah.
Okay, well, that's
$60 entry fee only.
that seems really cheap. You're getting 6 packs, so that's like $10 a shot on those. I mean, that is really
Plus
expensive,
you pay
but
for prize payout.
yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
That would be a really fun event to go to. It's kind of expensive, a little bit. You have to fly out to Vegas.
Not just the $60 fee.
If you live in the Nevada area, though, what a
Yeah.
sweet, unique
Oh, yeah.
experience that you get out there.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
Driving distance, I'd go in a heartbeat.
But I mean, it would be fun to go to. It would be fun to fly out there. Like you're looking at, God, how much do you think you're looking at paying? You're probably looking at paying $800 or something.
Oh, several hundred. I think you'd want to budget at least 5.
I mean,
Yeah,
even to fly out there, round trip's probably like 400 or 500.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it's a pretty heavy destination. I looked up flights at one point in time when I was actually considering going. I'm not going, but I think at that point in time, this was several months ago, flights were from Minnesota here were around $350.
I guess that's not too bad. Just did Kaiga. All right, Kira, Great Glass Spinner. Yeah, this card is definitely
My faves.
Yeah, 3 mana. I think Burton Cheney
Cheats with this card?
This was
Was this the card?
This was one of the incidents with
He had
Burton
2
Cheney
out
involved.
or what?
No, this was creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes the target of spell or ability for the first time in a turn, counter that spell or ability. This was the one where his opponent killed it and no one noticed, and he dragged it to his graveyard and put it right back in his hand. Put it right back in his hand.
How did he draw that card again?
And no one knew.
Commentators, I did see that video.
Yeah.
Recorded, and it was like the ultimate he just pulled a fast one.
I can't even believe it. I remember watching it too and being like, "You got to be shitting me."
No one.
He did it with the brainstorm too. It was like obvious in the video that he drew 4 cards off.
You know that Burton Cheney streams now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He told me that.
Well, did he? Well, like I see him on Twitch occasionally. I'm like, oh my god! And also Tristan Sean Gregson. You know, it's really interesting to see both of those guys after these like powerful accusations of
legitimate.
I mean, they pretty much. Well, and also you gotta keep in mind like the Magic community sort of bands together.
Yeah.
Against people
cheaters.
When they're, you know what I mean? Like,
we don't like cheaters.
Yeah.
We don't like cheaters.
No one likes cheaters, and when you take your game seriously like we do, you get super offended when you hear about someone.
That's very true too.
Well, because if it was just a game, you'd just be upset with them. But it's a game that you've put money in. You're putting
and everybody puts money into it.
Money, time, pride, and then you want to like rob them of that by cheating and trying to get away with it. And in the case of Burton Cheney walking away, and I will say he only allegedly cheated, even though they caught him on camera doing it
several occasions.
But they don't have any proof. He only allegedly cheated at the actual event where he ended up winning the Power 9 and stuff. So they don't have any sort of evidence of that exact tournament where he won. But the whole point is they ended up stripping him of Power 9 and his grand prize of however many thousands of dollars. So he was punished hard.
Jeez, that is hard punishment.
I would say. You know how those tournaments probably were to win in the first place?
Even with cheating.
Even with cheating, you know that it's probably very difficult to completely cheat and win. His cheats were like giving him advantage.
Yeah.
Absolutely giving him advantage. But it's not like he was directly going over the top of the game and winning. So you have to admit that he's probably a really good Magic player. You know what I mean? He's just my main concern with cheating in like our local tournaments, not our local like our store, but Legion or any other place you go to.
Yeah, larger state.
I would be worried about like messing with the sleeves in such a minute way that only you know, like some sort of divot on a sleeve that no one would comment on, but like you're aware of, so you actually know what cards on top of your library for like shuffling.
You cheating or what?
No, it's cheating. It's straight up cheating. I'm saying that would be something that would make me fearful because. Like, if you have good enough eyes, you could do a super minute, like, scuff on a sleeve that maybe nobody would think, like, twice of, you know, of it being anything else. But, like, you just know the way that it's scuffed, what card it is. And that doesn't go over top of the game either. But it's just, like, that's always kind of a concern to me when people are, like, more aware of what the cards are just based on the sleeve or something like that. You gotta wonder if eventually they're just gonna force everybody to use maybe standardized sleeves at those tournaments or something like that. I don't know.
Interesting thought.
Maybe they won't. Be a good way for them to make extra money selling sleeves. Gotta buy our sleeves if you want to play in our tournament. Moloku, the Clouded Mirror, 5 mana. I guess we didn't talk much about Kira. Kira's 3 mana, 2/2 flyer spirit. Creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes a target spell or ability for the first time in a turn, counter that spell or ability. So why is this card even played in Modern, I guess?
I've never seen it in Modern Constructed.
I see.
Definitely relevant ability.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really...
Sweepers,
I don't know.
Sweepers are the only thing that really shuts it down.
Sweepers shut it down.
I feel like it's actually a more relevant Legacy card than it is in Modern.
And
but
it was definitely...
It always gets...
Yeah, it was definitely Legacy where we were watching it being
It's an
played by him.
expensive price tag on this card, too.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like 10, 15 or something? Or?
Probably something like that, but the foils are outrageous. Like,
for sure.
Typically on Legends, you get like a quadrupling effect.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I guess I don't know much about the card. It's actually a really good ability. Yeah, can't remove your stuff with any sort of targeted removal. Doesn't work. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Or at least the first line. I really like that. Alright, Moloku, the Clouded Mirror, next card, 5 mana, 2/4 flyer, Moonfolk Wizard. Now, we don't know a ton of Moonfolk, but Tamio, who's currently in Standard, is a Moonfolk. And maybe, Jake, you know the lore pretty good. What are Moonfolk?
Well, they're designed to be like rabbits. Like, that's why they have...
Rabbit people?
Yeah, that's why they have long, like, ear... Like, you can look one up.
Like Tamio.
Yeah.
We should just go types, Moonfolk. We get to look at them.
Then we won't see Tamio.
It's okay.
She's a planeswalker.
She should have been a Moonfolk
You should
planeswalker.
zoom in, because you're not going to be able to see them.
Alright, Arayo, Soratami Ascendant. Wow, that is kind of a crazy little picture, huh? You can't really see... Oh, I see. Is this her ear there?
Go down to another one.
That one's a really weird picture. Okay.
Yeah,
Floodbringer. Alright. Wait, is that... Okay, you can see her ears a little bit better on this.
Anyway, they have, like... you can see they have...
The shape
white...
of their face.
This is actually their ears. That's her ears.
Oh my god. That was not what I thought. Crazy.
That's like a comb in her hair or something. But keep going down.
Okay,
See?
here's Moloku.
They, like, come off the top of their head like a rabbit. And then they... I feel like they kind of wrap them around their hair or into their hair, and then that's how they tie back their hair or something. But they're supposed to be rabbit people because in Japanese lore, they thought that the moon looked like it had a rabbit in it or something. So, but you can look at more there. See how they go straight back.
Uh-huh. Moonfolk. Interesting. So they made their...
That one's got...
They were a creature type, a creature type unique to Kamigawa block. And now, was this based on any sort of Japanese lore? Because, I mean, it's pretty obvious that the whole Kamigawa block
the Japanese people thought that there was a rabbit in the moon. That's why they even are moonfolk, too.
I see. That's kind of...
I think that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they described it when they went over the moonfolk on the Magic website. But you can look that up.
And that was before I played competitively. Mirrodin and Kamigawa block were two blocks that I was not involved.
Kamigawa is like a really good set flavor-wise. I think they did it really well. The cards all suck.
Yeah. Well, see, the weirdest part about that was it just came off after Mirrodin where they had a broken format that they had to actually fix. So then, like, anything you have after a broken format is going to seem really underpowered. And with this set in particular, they didn't want to screw up again, so they were, like, too conservative in how they made the cards and not liberal enough with, like, what kind of abilities they were putting on it.
So. It wasn't like a gradual decline into, less powerful cards. It was abrupt from Mirrodin.
Does Moloku see any modern play at all? Definitely sees Commander play.
Good Commander.
Yeah, but no, just not good enough.
Not really Muldrifter at Uncommon is cool. Yep. Are they using the original art, or...? Boo.
It's kind of funny that they upgraded this, because this originally was a common, but What a
Very
good common,
common.
yeah.
Yeah,
Extremely
it is a
powerful.
really
Now, is this
powerful
see modern play?
Yeah.
And do you know what kind of decks are playing it?
It runs in. There's not a ton of control decks in Modern, but when there's a control deck, particularly like the blue-white one, it's going to be in this in some way, shape, or form.
Really?
Because of the card advantage.
I see. Because you get cards play. Are they usually? Does that mean they're hard casting it most of the time, or? I mean, otherwise it's just
varies.
it's a divination. Otherwise, right? I mean, it's divination or a 5-mana 2/2 flyer with divination.
It can be something unique though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Always good.
Yeah, that's actually funny to me that this card is good enough for a modern play. I'm a little bit surprised because I do know this card is very powerful and it was very constructed playable. Like you said, in the Revelark deck is actually a really good reminder of how broken this card was because of that. But still playable, good enough in control lists. I guess it's a little bit surprising to me and cool. Glad to see that. All right, Pact of Negation. This was part of a cycle of all free spells, and they're only free when you played them because it's at the beginning of your next upkeep. With this Pact of Negation, you have to pay 5 mana, and if you don't, you lose the game. You had to pay a certain amount or you lose the game. But this one was a free counterspell when you needed it. So the most unique aspect of this counterspell, you could be completely tapped out in Modern or constructed. So you could be completely tapped out and still. Yeah. But I mean, in Legacy, it's been like that forever because of Force of Will.
Yeah, but this was like not something you don't usually expect your opponent who is playing counterspells to have an extra counterspell when they're tapped out.
Yeah, and actually, the reason this would be like a trump to Force of Will in that respect would be you could be tapped out with one card in your hand and be like, what can I do? Oh.
Yeah, packed it.
So I think it's going to be pretty crappy and limited. Counterspells are okay and limited, and even though this one's a free one, I mean you'll
actually
play
not terrible.
You'll play it if you're in blue, but it's not like it's going to run amazing. It's not going to run the same way that it does for you in constructed.
No.
You know?
The problem is that you actually want to be tapped out so that your opponent plays stuff when you have this. So if you ever play it at a time when you're not tapped out, it's like, I really wish I had the option to pay for this now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. That's a good point. I forgot about that.
You're shutting your next turn off.
Yeah, it's just really too bad they couldn't have made it in a way where you had the option to pay for it at the time that you played it.
Like a Force of Will.
Okay, Scion of Una, next card. This saw play in Fairies for a while. It wasn't a permanent.
This was like it still saw play when Bitter Blossom was out, but I think then it got moved to the sideboard still.
But it's a 3-mana 1/1 flash flying fairy soldier. Other fairy creatures you control get +1/+1. Other fairies you control have Shroud. Why this card is so annoying? Well, it should be evident from just what I read to you. You can flash it in, and all of a sudden your other creatures have Shroud.
So your other fairies. Yeah. So your Bitter Blossom also got Shroud.
Ugh.
So there was
fairy creatures
screwed up.
Creatures get buffed.
Yeah.
Other fairies you have
because it's
Shroud.
Yeah, it was really good. So this basically doubled as a counterspell to spot removal. You know?
It wasn't until probably Volcanic Fallout came out that this card came out of the fairies deck actually, because you would have to have 3 of these out to trump a Volcanic Fallout.
Yeah, and Volcanic Fallout and not Banefire, is it? Or maybe it is Banefire. The 2 uncounterable red spells that came out in Conflux that were sort of their purpose was to sort of trump the fairies deck
and then they were like,
fail.
Here's Great Sable's Thing.
And here's Scattershot Archer. They gave you all these weird little tools that they thought were going to keep it in check, but it didn't. Fairies was outrageous for as long as it was in Standard. And a lot of people have told me, like, no, once 5-color control came out, it was a sure thing. I was like, it wasn't a sure thing.
It was not a sure thing.
5-color control still, they were like, of all the decks,
they were best equipped to take it on because
that and
they
Red Deck
counter
wins
their
too.
stuff.
Red Deck wins was supposed to be like because Red Deck wins was pretty fast at the time, so it could take out fairies before they got a time to.
5-color was good because they got to play Volcanic and Cryptic Command in the same deck. So it was like,
it was ridiculous.
Fallout. Now try and play something. I'll Cryptic.
And that I just played all Vivid Lands.
Yeah.
But Scion was not in the latest fairies list, and once actually fairies moved to Modern, when it was before Bitter Blossom was.
No, Bitter Blossom was banned right away.
All right, then it was when it was in Extended, because there was a time where fairies was
Yeah.
just and it's probably still is if anybody ever played extended, but even at that time, Scion wasn't in the list anymore. So.
I think only 2 fairies, like other than Bitter Blossom, were in the list.
Yeah, that was the funny.
Spellstutter
It was
Sprite
in Vendilion
and
Click.
Vendilion Click. Yeah.
And Vendilion Click is also coming back, and it's
At
mythic now. But even the Morning Tide ones now run like $50 at least, and they're a 3-mana 3/1 flash flyer. When it enters the battlefield, look at target player's hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, that player reveals the chosen card, puts it on the bottom of his or her library, then draws a card. So you can use it on yourself, and you can use it on your opponent. If you use it on your opponent during their upkeep, you even get to like keep them off of spells that would be the turn that would be debilitating for you. So it's like
you use it during their draw step, so they
after
still
they
can't
draw
cast it, but you got to see what they drew for the turn.
Yeah, that's what it was. During their draw step, because if it's during their draw step, they've already drawn, and you can, I don't know, it just takes out good
rob them of
answers.
answers. Yeah.
Yep. But even against you can use it on yourself sometimes if you're like flooding out and your opponent doesn't have any cards.
Yeah, you can't use it on land, so you can never get rid of your own land.
Okay.
But it is still a good card, because if you could get rid of land, you could really screw your opponent over potentially.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like pseudo land destruction.
But I mean, it's also just a flash flying 3/1. That's
Very
really
good.
super efficient, and it's surprise.
Relevant power toughness.
Right.
Yeah, totally. So Vendilion Click is a sick card. Spell Snare coming back. This is just an uncommon. It was before, but it's still worth like a few bucks. Spell Snare, super important card.
Very important card.
Even in Legacy. Even in Legacy, it's played. You can't really deny a 1-mana. And and especially in Legacy where everything is like 2 mana, 1 or 2 mana.
Well,
you top out at like 3.
Modern 2 has a lot of 2 casting costs.
Yeah.
So Spell Snare
Tarmogoyf alone is enough to need an answer for it like that.
And it's even good against the it was before preceding Song when the Storm deck was huge. Spell Snare was a good way to like keep them off of an important component when they were trying to go off. Like when they're trying to do their Manamorphose or something, or So that was kind of cool. Take Possession is now uncommon.
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting. So
I think it's legit. It's 7 mana for just all it is something you can't respond to. Confiscate.
Yeah, 7 mana. Aura with split second, enchant permanent. You control enchanted permanent. And this was an amazing commander card. Pretty much any split second card's an amazing commander card.
Yeah, split second's always good.
But Take Possession was a really cool one because it was any permanent too. And so I don't know if it actually saw that much constructed play. I'm pretty sure it didn't. It was printed in Future Sight.
I don't think it did.
Yeah, I don't think it did either.
Teferi was around then.
So
Blue didn't really need that.
No.
They had other stuff.
They had a good enough early game plan. All right. Bridge from Below.
New artist, cool.
So this is a staple of the Dredge deck, and it does have new art. It's 3 black enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, if Bridge from Below is in your graveyard, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. And when a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield, if Bridge from Below is in your graveyard, exile it. So if you don't know how the Dredge deck works, they pretty much mill themselves a million cards using the Dredge ability. And when they get a couple Bridge from Belows in their graveyard, as well as a Narco Amoeba from their library to the battlefield, they use the res spell Dread Return from their graveyard to sack and get a bunch of zombies. And it's a very obnoxious deck. And actually, when it was in Standard, it was probably the most obnoxious because there were the least amount of answers to it.
Yeah, it was really good in Standard.
It was a great deck. And there's various cards that deck used that were very abusive. So, I mean, is Dredge like used in Modern at all? Is that even like playable?
Dredge is playable. I don't see Bridge from Below in the Dredge list that see playing Modern.
That's kind of funny.
Most of them are built around like Vengevine. We're gonna dump out a bunch of things and get Vengevines and I can't think of the name of the 2/1 guy that comes back when you drop a land.
Bloodghast.
Yeah, Bloodghast. I'm gonna build my deck around that. And that's how the win cons. They're not Bridge from Below and making a bunch of zombies. It's I'm gonna get some Vengevines out and go to town.
So that's pretty interesting. This was the Standard deck version. When this was in standard, this is how they did it.
Too.
Oh, they do.
Legacy
Oh, okay.
plan, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I see.
Rich and Blue is Legacy.
Now, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
They're printing a card for
Legacy
Modern
rules.
Masters that's not even like a staple of Modern Masters.
It could be though.
But-
I mean, Dredge is a mechanic that's available in Modern. Just right now, there's no decks that are really going this route.
And
Okay.
didn't they nerf like a couple of dredge cards, like Golgari Grave Troll, because it's the
Dredge is too
biggest
much?
dredger?
What is
yeah.
it, Dredge 8 or something?
Six, I
Or
think it was
6?
Dredge
Okay. No, you're right. That sounds right.
So it's basically dredge an entire hand into your graveyard.
Yeah.
So then they decided that was too much and they got rid of that availability in Modern.
Yeah, so you
I
couldn't
don't-
dredge as
yeah,
fast.
I have to pull the ban list though.
Yeah. I remember them saying they just didn't want bonkers dredge decks, but they wanted it around.
You still have like Stinkweed Imp and Smatters.
And I think Stinkweed Imp is the biggest dredger now.
Let's see. Golgari Grave Troll. Yep, it's on the list. All right, so Grave Troll is
Dread Return.
Dread Return also.
So
Wow,
there goes that strategy
that's
in
very
general.
crippling. Well, now it makes a lot more sense why they're using Bloodghast and Vengevine.
Mm-hmm.
And Vengevine is whenever they enter the battlefield or whenever you cast them. The second
You have to cast 2 creature spells.
Okay, you have
So
to
they're
cast
usually
them.
playing like the Vengevine list. They're usually playing like Grave Crawler.
Yeah.
Some zombies, so that
Zombies.
they can get the
Oh.
Grave Crawlers out of the yard and they're actually casting.
Oh yeah, they're casting them from the graveyard. That makes sense. Okay, Green Sun Zenith also banned, and quite a few modern cards actually banned. And if you don't already know, like the purpose of what modern format was, it was supposed to be like an environment that was free from all the previous decks that were on top of the meta. So the decks that people eventually said were too powerful. Most of the cards on this ban list were cards that were involved in why those decks were so powerful.
Yeah.
Like Bitter Blossom and Blood Braid from Bitter Blossom from Fairies, Blood Braid from Jun, Chrome Mox from I don't know, I guess just too much. You get too much ramp off of it too fast. I guess any sort of combo deck would.
They didn't
love it.
want people to win on turn 2 or 3. They wanted it to be like a 3 or 4.
I see.
Like,
Dark Depths though, that was an interesting one. It was played alongside Vampire Hex Mage.
Yeah.
And you got your 2020 Black Avatar Flyer.
Turn 2.
Dread Return was the Dredge deck we just talked about. Glimpse of Nature was Elf deck. It's kind of funny. You just see where they've... And Great Furnace was involved. Great Furnace was part of the cycle of all the artifact lands.
They just banned those right out the gate.
Because Shrapnel Blast was a card that was just like...
Darksteel Citadel is the only one that's legal.
Yeah. So they...
All the
artifact lands
that produce color.
It's because affinity cards are actually... wait, are affinity cards not legal? They are legal.
They are legal.
Okay.
They're not good without.
Without the artifact lands.
They're generally not good without the artifact lands.
They're not as good.
Yeah.
That was actually how Mirrodin got broken. But Mental Misstep is also on this ban list.
Let's put them at common. Oh, that's smart.
Mental Misstep is hilarious. It's like, why did they even print it? They banned it right away, and then it was like legal in standard, and people did play it in standard because it was even towards the end. It was like it was one of the few things that you could do against Delver, but Delver also played it, so you got into Mental Misstep battles with people.
And the Infect deck at the end adopted it too.
Yeah, because they needed a good out, and they needed a good out to. What were the 1 mana? What was the 1 mana removal at that time?
Tragic Slip. What's a good one?
Yeah.
Pillar.
That deck was sick by the end. That Infect deck with the Wild Defiance, and that was obnoxious. Mutagenic.
I was so glad that was only around for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it was very...
Cathedral of War. They even had that too, remember?
It was
so obnoxious.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a glass cannon, because, I mean, the deck only ran like 1920 land.
Yeah.
Very few creatures.
But they also played Gutshot too.
It was like Inkmoths, Glisteners, and maybe one other creature, and that was it.
Gutshot was so good too. That was another one for Mental Misstep to hit.
But remember, Gutshot was sick in that deck too.
Yeah,
if you had the
because
Wild
they
Defiance,
ping themselves.
They'd ping their creature to make it bigger.
So not only could they clear the path with it, but they could also
boost their creature with it eventually. What a cool deck!
Growth for free.
I'm only saying cool because I didn't have to play against it that much, but I was into combo like Infect for a while.
We should go back to this.
I thought it was cool. Okay.
Unless we need to talk more about it.
No, there's also like Stoneforge, which is from Cobblade. I was just kind of going over all the cards of why these cards are banned. Punishing Fire was part of a combo with the land from
Grove of the Burnwell.
Yeah, where it's they get to gain a life, and then Punishing Fire reads whenever they gain life, you can pay a red and bring it back. was obnoxious. It was like another infinite like little engine that you had. Where's the spoiler? Okay. Dark Confidant. Let's see that new picture. All right, so Dark Confidant coming back. This is a very important card. Isn't the price tag on this like $50 or 40 or $50 or something like that?
A little bit higher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pricey card. 2 mana. It's got a really good ability. 2 mana, 2/1 human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. So, what are all the decks in Modern that are obviously running this card?
Jund being the big one. Jund pre-Blood Braid, post-Blood Braid. There's a number of different decks. There's some decks that are like call them Pox decks. You know that run this.
Yeah, I suppose.
Gain some card advantage.
Yeah.
They also play creatures that play out of their graveyard and stuff.
No, they're basically blowing up your land. They're Smallpox and Lilianas and just trying to keep you removing all the cards from your hand and then going for some minimal land destruction.
Now, what's the discard in Modern? We have Thoughtseize, but what else?
Inquisition.
Inquisition of
That's
Kozilek.
the big one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Inquisition actually, it's funny when that just like jacked up in price.
It's better than Thoughtseize a lot of the time.
Yeah, because most of the cards that are played in this format are 3 or less. Yeah.
Can you get land off of Thoughtseize or no?
No.
I don't think you can.
So. That would be insane, actually, but that feels like it would be too good at 1 mana. I don't think you can,
No.
but we'll look it up.
I don't think you can either.
I think it's any non card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and actually interesting to note, all the rares and mythics have been spoiled from Modern Masters, but Thoughtseize is not on that list now.
I've heard they're printing it somewhere else.
That's the rumor.
The rumor is it's going to either come in the fall set Theros or
M14.
M14. And I will say it doesn't feel like a core set card. In my opinion, it doesn't feel like a core set card. But you were saying it doesn't really feel like a Theros card, right? Or
I could see Theros more than I can see core set, for sure.
The only reason I say it doesn't feel core set is usually the sets they try to do for new players coming in. Core set is sort of like, hey, why don't you learn how to play Magic? There's a brand new core set coming out, so you can learn all the fundamentals of the game. Because core set is typically like a lot of evergreen abilities, a lot of more simple creatures that are easy to understand. An exception being when they had Gideon in core set. I wanted to facepalm every time. Where it was like, really? You're gonna put the planeswalker that turns into creatures off an ability into
Yeah. That also like can then be destroyed with creature destruction effects, but
so there are exceptions to the rule. But I guess what I was going for were the pain lands, which were originally in core set. We've talked about this. How it's not intuitive for new players to think that a land that deals damage to yourself is a good thing. So people like didn't catch on to the fact that, hey, it's actually really good to have a land that produces 2 different, mana types. And shock lands are kind of similar with new players too. They're like, why would I want to? Why do I want to pay too much?
And it is really difficult to explain it to new players. You'd be surprised, but working at a store, it's like you need to get these if you want to come. Like, you can't complain about how your deck isn't like,
And the reason,
until you get these lands,
because it's straight up a matter of keep hands that were keepable, maybe aren't keepable if you're not running those lands,
And it's really funny how
shuts
big
off
a difference
consistency.
having to split up 4 dual lands into 2 of each type of basic land is, or whatever.
Because there's such a big set of it, or what?
No, it is like if you had those 2 basics then that would have been dual lands, and you had the opposite color in your hand,
It's a hose. It slows you down.
Yeah.
You can't be turns behind in any sort of competitive environment at all. Can't just walk in with any casual deck and hope to do good at a tournament. That's for sure. And times have changed a lot just recently in Magic too, in just the last few years, with how much is getting reported on the internet now. So you see tournament reports and you see results. I mean, that's even a change. Magic's been around so long, it's pre-internet, man. So it was like, even at those really old tournaments, you really didn't know what was being played,
Read a Scry or something.
That's, oh my god. That's funny. Scry magazine. People are like, what are magazines?
Yeah, what's a periodical?
Death
I
Cloud.
think you skipped one.
Oh, did I?
No.
Okay. Death Cloud, 3 black and X sorcery. Each player loses X life, discards X cards, sacks X creatures, sacks X lands. Wow. Does that see any sort of modern play? Probably too expensive?
I think it's too expensive. I mean, the Pox decks that I've encountered usually are curving at 3, so they're.
Do they play a? I'm sorry.
What do they play?
Were you saying?
Well, they're playing small Pox. So, they're sacking their own lands to keep you off of stuff. So usually they're curving at Liliana, is the top end.
Do they do like Crucible or something to like get their lands back?
Yeah. Or do they run artifact land or artifact sources of mana?
The ones that I've encountered typically don't. They're just really heavy on land count.
So they can just outland you.
Yeah.
Constantly be.
But they're going after your hand, so they're gonna run you out of cards, and then they're gonna have Liliana on the battlefield, and they're gonna keep taking her up, while keeping some spot removal in their hand if you do get a threat out, and then they'll win that way.
Sounds like
or they'll win off of just attacking you with Dark Confidants.
Yeah.
Losing a Dark Confidence. Yeah,
it's happened. I have lost a Dark Confidence.
Well, and if you have heavy land deck, you're like less punishing on yourself with Dark Confidence too. So that's kind of cool.
Yep.
Your Wig Squad, a nice card. It's kind of funny they put this in Modern Masters.
Gem.
5 mana, 5/3 Goblin Rogue with Prowl. And Prowl is if a rogue you control deals damage.
No, if a creature that shares a type with this creature.
I think,
isn't it?
No, you're probably right. I don't know.
Maybe it is rogue.
I thought it was rogue, but
You were on the they were on the Thoughtseize one.
Oh, I could look up the text on here. What?
Just look up
your Wig Squad.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, on the original they would have the. You may play this for its Prowl cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this turn as a goblin or a rogue. Oh, okay. So whatever creature type the creature with Prowl is.
Yeah.
Whenever a creature that shares a creature type with the card that has Prowl.
Yeah, but they put it on rogues almost exclusively, so that's why we associate it.
It was a roguish ability.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can cast it for that alternative mana cost. And
this Goblin theme is one of the sub themes in.
Oh, okay.
Modern Masters.
In the Modern Masters.
Oh, yeah.
You'll notice a lot of things.
Yeah, Face Vaulter and Festering Goblin.
Yeah, Mad Auntie.
Oh,
we get to red and different things. There's so much stuff.
Okay. But Earwig Squad is an excellent limited card. I will say that when it enters the battlefield, if its Prowl cost is paid, you get to search target opponent's library for 3 cards and exile them. And limited, that's huge. You take out their
3 good, really great cards or whatever.
Yeah, and you get to see what you have to deal with the rest of the game too. Plus you get a 5/3 for 3 mana. So really no downside to that. Earwig Squad's awesome and limited. It's not I can't see it being a modern playable card.
Unconstructed.
Extirpate. Now this one saw some sideboarding, right? Is it see any more modern because it's split second, or are people just doing surgical still?
Is the better one.
Or they even played it all, I guess. But it's 1 black instant split second. Choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for all cards with the same name as that card. Exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library.
I've seen surgical extraction more than I've seen extirpated.
Yeah, and that ability has been on multiple cards.
Yeah, and 1 black mana seems very fair for that. Surgical, though, being able to play it for free is always going to be the...
Because you meet, once again,
it's
tapped out and they're
second,
trying to raise. Yeah.
It's like more relevant than split second, I should say. Because more often than not, nobody's going to waste their time countering this what you could do kind of spell.
Yeah, it's true. Is it seeing any... I guess it's probably seeing a little bit of modern play. I can't imagine it seeing that much sideboard, though, honestly.
Well, surgical's still relevant to modern.
Kokusho, the Evening Star. So this is another 6 mana dragon. It's 5/5. Are they all 5/5s too? I guess that. So they're all 5/5 flying legendary dragon spirit creatures with a die effect. When Kokusho dies, each opponent loses 5 life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. Okay. Now I kind of remember why the legendary dragons were cool. Once you played the second one,
you got twice the effect off of it. Yeah,
that is cool. Okay.
10 life or 20 life swing off 2 Kokushos, and then that's only in 1-on-1. That's why this card was banned in EDH for so long.
Yeah.
Because it was
because
oh,
if multiple people
yeah.
were playing it.
No,
It's just a general.
Yeah, if you had it and you killed it, you guys each lose 5. I gain 15. You know.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
then I'll
true.
cast it again.
Yeah,
yeah. And then I'll do it again.
Or like in a deck that he's not your general, even just playing it with clone effects.
He's pretty good. You're right. So that's gonna be a crazy limited card too. Yeah. Certainly punishes you for killing it or letting it fly in on you. Wait, is that uncommon now?
Yeah.
Do I read that right?
It's much better at uncommon.
So Mad Auntie is a 3-mana 2/2 Goblin Shaman Lord, and it has tap or generate another target goblin. Yeah, it's kind of funny. They moved this back to uncommon when it was rare. When Imperious Perfect was uncommon.
Wrong. It's wrong.
They screwed up on that.
They screwed that up so much.
But Mad Auntie, it's gonna be a good limited card. It typically is. Tap regen is a good ability to have. Can't regenerate itself. Keep that in mind.
Which is why it was always justifiable at uncommon, in my opinion.
Alright, Skeletal Vampire. Man, I hated this card. 6 mana, 3/3 Vampire Skeleton is flying. When it enters the battlefield, you put 2 1/1 black bat creature tokens flying onto the battlefield, and then you pay 5, sack a bat, and you get 2 more 1/1 black bat creature tokens. And you can sack a bat and regenerate Skeletal Vampire. So just a slew of different things happening with this card. But it was played in the Teferi Flash deck. Teferi was an obnoxious card that was a legendary creature, you flash in, and then your opponents couldn't cast.
They couldn't do anything other than sorcery speed, as far as spells go.
And it was in the same set with suspend cards, so it made no sense because it completely turned off the mechanic of the entire set. It was really stupid that they did that. And Teferi really was an overbearing card in the format for a long time.
He should have been at least multicolor into green because of the flash effect. And actually, he had City of Solitude effect. One-sided City of Solitude effect. So he should have had green on him at some point, but he was blue, so it was even worse.
Yeah, so they could counter your spell. They could
And then remember, because of Mystic Teachings or whatever, it had flashback and search for a card with flash, or
so you could find
creatures off of
Mystical Teachings.
As long as you had Teferi out, you could find any creature, because Teferi gave creature cards you owned that weren't on the battlefield flash.
So it lets you find your skeletal vampires and then flash them in at a convenient time. And then you had an infinite little engine that you could just keep making bats at the end of their turn while holding up your counter spells, like your remands.
And they would have to have 2 removal spells when they saw the skeletal vampire, because you had 2 bats to
so you could still regen it. Yeah.
Very obnoxious.
Yeah, and the only real answer for the deck at that time was sudden death. Just because it killed Teferi, and at least they couldn't
respond to it.
Yeah. But then they typically found it. They always had the second Teferi, because Teferi was running.
You could Mystical Teachings there too.
So, yeah, that was a bad deck.
Blue-black.
But Skeletal Vampire, I feel like, is awesome and limited too. It's incredible. That sort of effect. Tombstalker, next one. This is a cool one because it has a unique ability from Future Sight, right? Is that what Delve is from?
Yeah, but it's unique to Future Sight.
Yeah, just unique to Future Sight. They put Delve on a few cards. It's an 8-mana 5/5 flying demon with Delve, and Delve is you may exile any number of cards from your graveyard as you cast this spell. It costs less to cast for each card exiled this way. Has Tombstalker seen modern play, Gabe?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
It's just a card people really like and have liked.
That's a neat ability. And you can reduce the casting cost to 2.
If you're doing any sort of self-mill, I see that being cool. I guess it'd be cool in that sort of like dredge deck you were talking about.
Yeah, you got to set it up, but if you dredge behind, then it's gonna, that's kind of the miss on them.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right, now we're on to Red Rare's Blood Moon. Top of the list here, 3-mana enchantment, non-basic lands or mountains. Definitely a staple of modern.
Yep.
A staple of extended. To see any legacy play, I guess. Are there enough basics in legacy where it's too slow? See, the problem is we don't play a lot of Legacy.
Yeah.
Legacy is a tough environment to get into because the decks are kind of expensive. But
definitely,
I could see it being good.
I mean, I have to imagine in Legacy
against the lands deck, it would be.
You've seen a bunch of dual lands too, so
yeah.
But I mean, the thing with Blood Moon is it's just a modern staple. it not only sees sideboard playing like aggro lists like Affinity, it sees main deck playing like Splinter Twin list. I mean, it sees play in a lot of different archetypes within the modern format.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Moon, good card. Definitely hoses some decks so badly too. And they have to anticipate it too when you're playing like a red deck sort of aggro list. You know that that's coming in post sideboard. So then that's another aspect that kind of sucks for the deck that has to fight against Blood Moon, because then they have to bring in stuff that deals with enchantments. But you know the decks that are running Blood Moon are decks that are typically running creatures to combat you down or spells that deal direct damage to you. So having to dedicate slots in your deck to deal with Blood Moon instead of dealing with creatures, you get like weird hands where it's like, ugh, now I have this like disenchant effect, but I have to deal with like these 3/3s or whatever.
Yeah.
So Blood Moon was just an incredibly powerful card for that deck, for the aggro lists. Countryside Crusher, there used to be something. Oh, new picture, kind of cool.
Yeah.
3 mana, 3/3 giant warrior. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it into your graveyard and repeat this process. Whenever a land card is put in your graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on Countryside. Now, this used to be involved in some sort of weird combo deck.
Wasn't it the Seismic Swans deck?
Yeah, I could see it doing it. You know, it would make sense since it was like a 40 land deck or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so no modern play is any sort of I don't know.
It was good in red deck wins too, just because
Isn't
you
it
never
like
wanted to hit land.
I mean, it's dredge playable too. If you were to build around it, only because it's like whenever a land card is put in your graveyard from anywhere, you get to boost it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
That's true.
But
it was only if you're getting a ton of cards in your graveyard. That's
so
the only other way. You either make a deck that's all lands, or you make a deck that can put a ton of cards from your library into your graveyard right away.
Yeah, in limited if you had like the Dampened Thoughts, because those are in this set, or the Stinkling Imps. You know, this could be actually really good in this set.
Yeah. What do you think?
He's still a 3/3 for 3, so he's not bad.
No, he is very efficient.
What do you think of the new picture?
I like that axe.
Yeah, he looks much better than he did before.
He kind of looks like what is that face? It's almost like a Mortal Kombat or something. It's
Scorpion.
Like, or Sub-Zero. Looks like
one of those dudes got that mask.
Bane from...
Yes! That is what it was. It was Bane.
Bane from Batman.
He totally looked like Bane. Yes, that's a good call.
Okay. Dragonstorm, next one. This was another card. It seems like all these cool rares were just annoying at one time.
Yeah.
This is 9 mana sorcery, so it seems like it's pretty expensive, right? But it's got search your library for a dragon permanent card and put it onto the battlefield. That's new wording too, I think, right?
Yes, because it did say for a dragon card before. Okay. So now it's specifying that you can't go get a dragon, like you can't get Shields of Velasvel and try and put it on the battlefield.
I see. Search your library for a dragon permanent card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Storm. Imagine this card being very difficult to play and limited.
Yeah.
I
imagine that being very true.
Since you not only have to have dragons in your deck, you'd have to be able to get to 9 mana.
And have more than one.
Getting more than 7 mana in any limited environment is typically very difficult to do. You have to have a lot of sort of ramp to make that work. Otherwise, you're going to die before it ends. Before this Dragonstorm, though, we should almost know it's like a slap in the face to see Desperate Ritual. No.
Why?
Just because it's like Storm decks kind of been neutered.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, why even bother anymore?
Did you want to play Storm?
Still out there. Top 8 with it.
Yeah.
And actually, Desperate Ritual's fine for
because
Empty the Warrens.
Can you splice it on anything? Are there any arcane spells?
Yeah, they already showed Dampened Thought, which also has splice onto arcane. And it's common.
Right
and
below it, Glacial Rise.
Yeah, Glacial
Rise.
Rise.
Yeah, that's right.
There was another one, though, too. It's the Petals of Insight or whatever. The one where you look at it's 5 mana, you look at the top 3 cards of your library, and you can choose to put them on the bottom of your library in any order. If you do, put Petals of Insight back into your hand. Otherwise, draw 3 cards.
Oh, so you can splice onto
that card.
I see. That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Dragonstorm is not going to be very good in limited, and I don't even think it can't be a deck in modern anymore. I don't think, because Finkel's doing it with Empty the Warrens, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he's
Empty
not
the Warrens and
Grape Shot.
Okay, So it's just sort of funny that they brought Dragonstorm in. I guess it's sort of because they had a storm theme going in this.
Plus, there's a dragon theme in the set overall.
Oh, okay.
So it's a way to tutor up.
Oh, I
your
guess that's
mythic
true.
dragons.
Get all your legendary spirit dragons or whatever
Yeah,
that does work.
You know.
And Storm is like it's a good mechanic for Red to have, and in my opinion, it actually kind of showcases the way Red is. It's like all big on one turn or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and mana ramp here with like Grinning Ignis.
Yeah, even Greater Gargadon with Suspend.
I love Greater Gargadon.
Yeah,
It's a phenomenal
and having
card.
Lotus Bloom in the deck or in the standard too, or this limited exclusion.
Greater Gargadon's 10 mana 9/7 beast, and I know it seems really difficult to play, but it also has Suspend for 1 red, and it suspends 10 turns. And you can sack an artifact, creature, or land, and you remove a time counter from it, and then activate this ability only if Greater Gargadon is suspended. So the reason that this card is cool, in response to any sort of removal, you can just sack the creature or the artifact to the land, and you get to buy
You're one closer.
You're one closer. You get your Gargadon. You've effectively countered some removal if the removal has to resolve to have an additional ability or something like that. So it's good against that. Sometimes you get the surprise factor where you can just be like, if they're in a position where they're tapped out, you can sack all your lands, bring it in,
Yeah,
and
it's
cards
a great red deck wins card for that reason.
Yeah, cards that are brought in from Suspend also have
they auto haste off Suspend.
And it does have to be specified that they have haste instead of they were already on the battlefield, so they don't have summoning sickness. Okay. Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker, definitely highly played card. Is that mythic now too? Okay. Originally rare, but that was only because pre-mythic. 5 mana 2/2 legendary Goblin Shaman with haste, and you tap, put a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control on the battlefield. That token has haste, sack it at the beginning of the next in-step. So it's effectively also it's just another Splinter Twin, except instead of an aura, it's attached to a creature. And the decks in Modern that currently abuse this, how good is the Exarch combo decks? It's Deceiver Exarch, and
you can use it with Restoration Angel too.
Restoration Angel, Zealous Conscript.
Do you like that deck?
Yeah, that's actually the second deck I'm working on building. Is more the twin. I have the Kiki Jikis too. The Kiki pod lists are really good. They're tough to learn and tough to pilot. With that, you usually get Kiki out, and then you fetch up something else like a Restoration Angel and just go to town.
Go infinite that way? I see.
He's really good though. I mean, he's a Modern staple, and after the first bannings that took down the Storm deck and some other stuff, he went from being a $15 card to a $25 card overnight.
Wow.
So, I mean, him and Karn just skyrocketed at that point in time.
Yeah, what's Karn at now?
He's still way expensive now. Yeah, from where he was.
So, I mean, that's kind of, in the meta musings about Modern, is Tron the best list, or is some type of Kiki Splinter Twin list the best list? That's kind of the thought process, at least during the PTQ season when I played a lot of Modern.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we don't get to play a ton of Modern or Legacy around here. And I guess even in general, those are kind of just formats that, not necessarily on the outs, it's just, it's hard to get on the ins.
The price of them is like a little too
prohibitive
for newer players, and like.
And long-term players like us, it still costs prohibitive, Yeah. So that's sort of the difficult aspect of playing both Modern and Legacy, and the whole point of Modern Masters is to infuse cards like Kiki Jiki and Goyf.
Yeah, and this is actually his third printing too.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Really fun.
Wait, was he in some sort of special
from the vaults?
From the vault.
Okay.
Legends.
And those from the vaults and from the realms and all those weird little from the cycle of
the vault.
They're kind of like this, trying to infuse staples of older formats into the new game. And it's almost like they have to do this, It's like otherwise these formats are going to die if you just don't have enough of these cards printed and you want enough players that can support your tournament scene. So they're in sort of an awkward position with trying to not destroy the secondary market of Magic cards, but also trying to allow players to actually have these cards.
It is difficult to do it.
It's also hard to speculate like what this is going to do to prices. Some people are like, they're sure it's going to tank prices, and other people are like, no, it's going to jack up prices. So it's like, I don't understand. I don't think anybody really knows, right?
we won't know until we see.
Yeah.
And it's all about what the market will bear. So if people are willing to pay like slightly below original price on some of these cards, then I can see some of them just staying at very close to the original price anyway.
Yep.
Like the fact that the real staples are getting printed at Mythic,
makes it so you're not gonna have a chance.
the
You're not
price
gonna be open
difference
that much.
isn't going to be that great.
No.
Yeah, because they're
especially when they're competing with the dragons at Mythic,
Mm-hmm.
which see no modern play
Right.
and hold price tags. I mean, the black dragon holds a price tag of like $10 to $15. All the other dragons are below $5.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's very interesting to me that they decided to print that whole cycle when they printed like parts of cycles out of here before, like Cryptic Command.
Yep.
Was a part of a cycle. Both the other packs, the 2 packs that they printed.
Part of the cycle.
Yeah. So it's
why are they getting specific?
Yeah, like
with
why did they
printing
do
the entire,
that one?
Yeah.
When we know that Kokusho is the good one, and I would have even accepted Yosei or Kaiga.
But the other ones are pretty crappy. Or
yeah, it's really funny that
what's like the green one? Well,
the green one is Jugan, but it's not that good.
Ryusei's 6 mana, 5/5 red one, and when it dies, it deals 5 damage to each creature without flying. Oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely more underwhelming than.
Yeah, it's like it's cool that it clears the board, but.
And what's the green one do?
It lets you distribute 5+1/+1 counters among creatures any way you choose.
Just kind of cool, but still much less.
But yeah, that means that a board wipe isn't going to get you any effect. The red one and the blue, and the green one, and actually the blue one, after a board wipe, have no effect.
They've really like gone to town on a lot of rarities. It looks like Partic Dragon now at uncommon,
which is justifiable.
Yeah, it's just they're not afraid to sort of be like, I guess this was the wrong rarity. We're just gonna change it.
Mm-hmm.
So Partic Dragon used to be a rare, now it's an uncommon.
Yeah, I think Mass Admirers, Feud Killer's Verdict, a lot of stuff got changed.
Wow, wait, Mass Admirers became an uncommon?
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a rare to me. I feel like that's a pretty awesome card.
Yeah, that card was really good.
Green card draw. I mean, how often
it
do you
is
get
only
that?
a 3/2 for 4.
True, but it doesn't die either.
Yeah.
Well, it does, but it's difficult to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Molten Disaster, next red card, 2 red and X. It's a sorcery with kicker. If it was kicked, it has to put second, and it deals X damage to each creature without flying in each player. This is a really important card for Standard at the time, too.
Yeah.
The Stuffy Doll decks love this one.
Yeah. And it was a really important card because counterspells were a thing. When Fairies was around, you needed a way to...
Even before Fairies came out, this was important because of Teferi and what's-its-butt. What was his name?
Dralnu?
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, Molten Disaster isn't even that good specifically against any Bitter Blossom Fairies or any of the other fairies since it can't even hit them. So Molten Disaster was just like your finisher move if you resolved your Stuffy Doll. But I don't know how those decks possibly resolve the Stuffy Doll against fairies.
I don't know either.
Yeah. You have to find a really good time. That deck also used Scred, which was a cool little tool. But Molten Disaster I can see it being an amazing limited card.
I think it's
definitely
a great and necessary limited card. Did they even put another
Sweeper
in?
They do like Hurricane or anything like that. Any sort of flying killer.
They might have done that, but there wasn't one in white that I saw.
One,
so
yeah, no command on that one.
austere command.
Yeah. Pyromancer's Swath, another card coming back. 2 and a red enchantment. If an instant or sorcery source you control would deal damage to a creature or player, deals that much damage +2 to that creature or player instead. At the beginning of each end step, discard your hand. Where was this played? I vaguely remember this card being played. Was it with Grave Shot?
Storm.
Did it work with each little?
Because of Grave Shot.
Yeah.
Each copy did actually.
Makes sense,
okay.
Yeah. You played it the turn that you were going to go off, probably with your extra mana that you had.
It's pretty good. Just talked about Ryusei. Oh, Shrapnel Blast is coming back. It's kind of funny. Squee, Goblin Nabob. What a great name. 3 mana, 1/1 legendary creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return Squee from your graveyard to your hand. Now, why do you think they put this in Modern Masters? Why would they put this card there?
I think it's mainly because of the Goblin sub-theme within the list.
Yeah.
You know...
Is there... Yeah, Tar Pitcher's in the set, so it actually has synergy with something.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess... So there's actual stuff you can do with it. Did they put... They didn't put Fodder Launch or anything, did they? Or
No, not that we've seen, at least.
well, that would have been in black, right?
Yeah, but there's still
Oh, wait,
several
no, you're
cards
right. You're
are
right. There's
kind
still
of
stuff
spoiled.
we haven't. Okay. But, yeah, I guess you're right. So, Squeeve's just printed for some synergistic purposes. Okay.
Flavor.
People actually like that card,
mhm.
too. It has only been printed twice.
It's kind of fun. It's a funny card.
Mm-hmm.
Doubling Season's coming back. Now, that's kind of cool because Doubling Season is a unique card in that it's one of the few cards that deals with counters that actually interacts well with Planeswalkers in like a really ridiculous way, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a 5-mana enchantment. If an effect would put one or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, puts twice that many of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. If an effect would place one or more counters on a permanent you control, places twice that many of those counters on that permanent instead. So you play your Doubling Season, you play any of your Planeswalkers, voila, they have twice as many
Generally,
loyalty
like
on them.
a lot of Planeswalkers are already at Ultimate with a Doubling Season out.
So it's like basically playing a Planeswalker doing Ultimate. I mean, think about it with like Elspeth. It's like
everything is already indestructible.
Emblem indestructible.
Yeah.
I've seen you do it in Commander with the Liliana of the Dark Realms, which is ordinarily a terrible card, but when you can make all your lands suddenly turn into Dark Rituals, you can do
well,
some
they're
really...
beyond Dark Ritual. It's 4 black. So it's Lake of the Dead.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Doubling Season with like, I'm sure
Cost would be crazy with it too.
That'd be obnoxious.
Oh, I automatically, my mountains are now
Tameo, I get
tiny
my
shots.
emblem.
Yeah. Tameo would be...
Oh, God.
Just stick with
you
that
can do
too.
it with Tameo? That's obnoxious.
She comes in with 4, right? And she's 8?
I don't actually know. We should look.
I think it is
I think that's right.
Oh, God.
So, Doubling Season, a great card, and always it's always been like about $20 or so.
So 5 mana, you have no maximum hand size, and whenever a card is put in your graveyard from anywhere, you can return it to your hand.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. So it actually really surprises me to see Doubling Season again, because that, I mean, it actually jacked up the price of the card because it was like, oh, this is insanely fun alongside Planeswalkers and any sort of casual.
EDH made this.
It is just casual. It's not like it was ever.
This is like a $20 card now, and that new art on it is sweet, but they don't have it shown here.
We can take a peek here. I'm sure people want to see what it looks like. Modern Masters. Wait, okay, Doubling Season. Okay. There it is.
It's pretty cool.
So it's like, it's like a bunch of, it's like a Hydra.
It's like a Hydra.
Yeah. 2 Hydras. Doubled it.
All bound out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's compare to the old one. The old one was... Whoa, old one was really strange. What are those?
Those are the Saprolings, the Selesnya Saprolings.
Oh, I see, okay.
Sure.
Do they have like eggs or something? Or
no, it's crystal.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that's how Saprolings worked.
that's how the Selesnya ones used to work.
Okay. But they don't do that anymore?
No, they strayed away from that.
Okay.
Which is fine.
Eternal Witness coming back, uncommon. It was before too, right? They didn't feel like it was good enough for rare.
It's not. It's a great uncommon.
Oh, okay.
But it's not.
How much is it worth?
$4 or $5.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Now, Jund, is that it, or what are the decks in Modern that we're seeing this with?
It's in the pod list.
Yeah,
I
that
can
makes
see
a lot
that
of
because you're
sense.
sacking and you're getting back. That's pretty sick. Oh, and you get to find it off your pod, and then bring back the thing that you sacrificed.
And then you get to sack this to go get a 4-drop, like Restoration Angel, or like sack something else to rest of this.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So Eternal Witness was insane when it was printed.
That is really good with pod.
Now, I'm sure it's insane and limited. What more can you ask for? Creature plus regrowth. That's like always that's what every regrowth needed. Something else.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Getting your creature off of it, it's really cool. Jugan, the Rising Star, and Jake mentioned this one earlier. It's funny how he's like the most color intensive one too. And so he distributes
the worst ability and the most color intensive. It's actually probably the most color intensive because it's so far out of green's color pie.
Yeah, actually, good point. Green typically doesn't get flyers, exceptions being like Birds of Paradise, and there's a couple other ones too. I just can't think of them right now.
Well, they have flyers in a much more limited and weird way. Yeah, like they're older. They also did it in Planar Chaos, like Giant Dust Wasp. You know,
that's right.
They put some flyers in Octavi Drake.
Oh yeah, Octavi Drake, that's a good one. But you're right. So specifically in sets where it was breaking color pie.
Yeah.
This one was in Kamigawa, so it's color intensive because it's not a very green card, a flying dragon.
But the blue one and the red one each only cost 1 of their color.
Because they would typically have flyers.
And then white and black cost 2 of their color. And white is actually
should have
been 1 white.
And black doesn't. I mean, they do
black
have flyers.
Black has justified it too. They have flyers, but it
didn't you
be
say it
less
had?
than,
Yeah, but didn't you say black had one in there?
No,
oh, okay.
2. It had 2.
What was the other color besides blue?
Blue and red.
Oh, okay. Red's because they have they've always had dragons. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Light from the Loam. This is a cool card.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how this is played in Modern because it has to be. This is a really important card for Modern.
Dredge listed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is probably one of your primary dredges.
Yep, but it's a 2-mana sorcery, and actually with the new, we should talk about this because with the new Legend rule, Patrick Chapin was all excited about a new little card synergy. But this is a 2-mana sorcery.
Thespian Stage and
return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand, and it has Dredge 3. So the Shaping combo, Dark Depths. It must be Legacy, right?
Yeah, it's only Legacy.
So because it was banned in Modern. Okay. So Dark Depths and then Thespian Stage, and Thespian Stage is a land that you can make a copy of another land. So with the new Legend rule that we talked about on the last podcast, you bring in the Thespian Stage, you turn it into a Dark Depths, and then you get to choose which one goes to the graveyard. So you choose the Dark Depths with all the counters, and
then your no counter triggers on the Thespian Stage,
and you get your 2020 flyer.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Swords, Path to Exile, highly played Legacy cards. So there are one mana answers to this. But also keep in mind that you're playing Life from the Loam, so even though they're exiling the creature, your lands are still in your graveyard. So you can still be, bringing those back.
Yeah. It does sound like Pithing Needle screws your deck over real hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, you're playing Hexmage combo? I think I'll just name one of your activated abilities.
That's true.
And Thespian Stage also,
the
feel earliest it goes off is turn 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's not super fast.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not even, really I felt like that wasn't even probably the main aspect of the deck. That was just something cool that deck can do. It doesn't have to just be a Dark Depths
combo deck. But that's what Dark Depths, if you're playing Dark Depths, you want to be playing for the combo.
True, but what else do you combo it with?
Hexmage, and you have a bunch of removal and discard.
That's it.
I would assume you're just cleaning out their hand so they can't deal with your giant threat when you get it.
You're just gonna want to resolve your threat.
Yeah, it's Urborg. Let me see your hand with a Thoughtseize or something.
I guess I don't really know, but you guys seem pretty unimpressed with the combo, and I mean at least
I think turn 4 is too late, in Legacy. Against the right decks, they've already got everything going for them.
But you have the Hexmage one you can do on turn 2, right? With the Urborg.
Mm-hmm.
So you have both ways to sort of combo off. You know?
Yeah.
You have 2 ways to do it.
I don't know.
I'm sure
I don't know. See, I don't know anything about Legacy, so I can't.
I'm sure people will try it. I've never played Legacy as a format. I've studied it, but I don't know how viable it would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's certainly interesting, and it's...
You gotta figure everyone plays 4 Wastelands in their Legacy deck, too. But, I mean... I don't know. You can also, can't you just surgically extract it then, too? Oh, you played that on turn 1?
I don't think you can surgically extract them.
Is it non-basic land? Or
non-basic? I'd have to look up...
Land, or a card other than a basic land?
Read surgical extraction.
Surgical extraction.
Other
than a basic land card.
Yeah.
So you can hit your Dark Depths and you can hit your Thespian Stage.
So I wasteland your first turn Dark Depths and then I surgically extract them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's answers to any sort of combo-y deck that's trying to abuse something. There's easy answers to it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say, I want to destroy combo. I don't like combo.
Yeah, I mean, I
play Agor control.
Yeah,
but you play, so that's funny. Yeah, exactly. You play Affinity, so that's almost. I mean, you can almost consider that a combo deck. How many times have you peed out your entire hand on turn 2?
Yeah.
How many times do you just just toss your cards on the table? Here we go.
Throw them in the air and they all land.
It's true. It's exactly how it is. It feels like it. It's like Memnite, Greater Plate.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, Affinity's good. Affinity's a cool deck. It's funny how much that deck increased the price of Shattering Spree. Specifically, it's like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, we need to have this good.
Yeah.
Now they're really expensive.
Shattering Spree is good.
Yeah. So like Jake said, Mass Admirers back to uncommon. It's very interesting. Moldavine Cloak. Wow, that's cool. That was an annoying
And
card at the
common.
time. Reach of Branches, still rare. Surprisingly.
Rival instant.
It's instant.
5 mana, 2/5 Tree Folk, or 2/5 Tree Folk instant. Put a 2/5 green Tree Folk Shaman creature token onto the battlefield, and whenever Forest enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Reach of Branches from your graveyard to your hand. Excellent limited card. You really can't ask for a much better limited card because you're getting rewarded for your late game lands. It's giving you 2/5 Tree Folk creatures. Actually, they don't have Reach, which I guess surprises me a little bit.
Yeah.
I almost thought it did have Reach for a second there, but it doesn't.
They should have given them
I
Reach.
think they would.
They're trees. How can they not block birds?
It's also called Reach of Branches. So it's a little bit of a misnomer.
Yeah, it's not aptly named. But well, that actually makes it a little bit worse. But 2/5 are still relevant.
Yeah, they're
creatures
still
and limited.
muck up
5
the ground.
toughness is huge. Yeah. And what more can you ask for? I mean, you're getting
Yeah.
a surprise blocker, plus you get to keep casting it.
Levi.
Rude Awakening, the next one, 5 mana sorcery. Choose one. Untap all lands you control. Lands you control become 2/2 creatures that are still lands, and then it has Entwine or Old Fuse. So, Rude Awakening, so you get to untap all lands control, and then lands you control become 2/2 for 8. It's a cool price for what you get. I can see that being pretty good and limited.
Even 5 mana to untap all your lands is fine.
Where you get your whole army of lands to attack with, so it's pretty cool, and it's not land type specific of what kind of lands turn. So.
It's actually really funny. This card probably would have been better as a card with kicker, because paying 5 mana to make all your lands 2/2s doesn't seem very good.
Yeah, it's too slow. I mean, you almost have to entwine it.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdest part about it, I guess, is like once you're at 7 mana, you could really only attack for like.
If it was originally just 3 casting costs, make one of your lands a 2/2.
Yeah.
Kicker, make it.
And that's actually really funny. Like, it should have just been early harvest mana cost for the same effects.
The 3 mana
then,
untap all lands.
5 to do the to entwine them.
So they should have just made it the other way around. Okay. Yeah, Summoner's Pact, talked about that a little bit earlier. It's in the same cycle as Pact of Negation. It's free, instant. Search your library for a green creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. Beginning of your next end step, you have to pay 4 or you lose. So, tutor effects in general, typically very strong, especially when you're talking about older formats. What is Summoner's Pact finding in Modern, typically? What decks are playing it?
Usually it's a win con. I'm going to play this and force you to pay that, or if you lose.
Oh, they do the Hive Mind combo.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, and Hive Mind is that enchantment where your opponent copies the spell that you.
So as long as
each player copies spells. Yeah.
As long as you do it on your turn.
Yeah, any sort of pact spell works in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really sick.
They're not using it to fetch. They're using it to win.
Just to win off.
It's a funny list. Now, is this Hive Mind deck like seeing much modern play? Is it sort of fringe now?
It's there. It exists.
Have you played against it online a little bit?
I've played against it. I mean, I played against it online, yeah. In paper cards, I haven't played against it, but I only went to like 3 PTQs, so.
Alright, let's scope out the new Tarmogoyf. Gotta see this one.
Yep. This is the big spoiler from way back when they first spoiled the set.
Yeah, cool card. 2 mana, star, 1+ star. It's a Lurgoyf. We see some Lurgoyfs before. There's a few Lurgoyf creatures. One named Lurgoyf, as a matter of fact. Tarmogoyf's power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. So Tarmogoyf, really funny card. Funny story behind the card, since it was totally under the radar to almost everybody when it first came out, and then suddenly quickly became one of the strongest cards in the format, if not the strongest.
One of the strongest cards in a lot of formats.
One of the strongest cards ever printed.
So, pretty remarkable card. Probably started at like $5 or $10, and then
started. It was much cheaper than that. This was like started as a throwaway card, and then when they started playing with it,
it was like a bulk.
Yeah, it was originally a bulk rare.
It's amazing how powerful this card is, and typically in Legacy on turn 2, it's already like a 3/4.
Yep.
You know, it's because you've
'Cause
played.
of fetch.
Fetch
Yeah,
lands.
you fetched, maybe brainstorm, maybe, you know, it's like,
Fetch and brainstorm, fetch and something else.
yeah. Tarmogoyf's really cool. And, I mean, it works with your opponent's cards, too. So, if your opponent's fetched and you haven't, you still are getting the boost.
Or if they play a sorcery and you haven't.
Now, it's funny that Scavenging Ooze, which you talked about a little bit earlier, when that was printed in a commander set, that was sort of a card that, like, not necessarily hosed Tarmogoyf immediately, but eventually could hose Tarmogoyf or become stronger than Tarmogoyf. How is that now in Modern with Scavenging Ooze and Tarmogoyf?
I don't know. That'd be really. Yeah, I mean, if Scavenging Ooze, like it seems, will get printed in M14. I mean, right now, commander cards aren't legal in Modern, so you can't play them side by side or versus each other. That'd be an interesting interaction when that does happen.
I mean, it has happened. It's been happening in Legacy for a while, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like that is an actual legit answer to Tarmogoyf. And sometimes, I mean, it's really like you choose one or the other. Is that what the plan is when you're in green? It's like would I rather play?
Not necessarily. I think in I don't know Legacy. I think in Modern you could play them side by side, like in a gem list, because I mean you're just gonna exile the off stuff, you know, the extra creatures with the ooze to make the ooze bigger, you know. But you're gonna be playing one or the other turn 2 when you have 8 of them in your deck. I mean, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Tooth and Nails. Is that a new pick?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's pretty cool.
7 mana sorcery. Man, it's a rough picture though.
Yeah.
7
A
mana
couple boards.
sorcery. Choose one. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards. Reveal and put them in your hand. Shuffle your library, or put up to 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. And then it's got entwined for 2. So for 9 mana, I'll just tutor up 2 creature cards in my library and put them out of the
No
battlefield.
restrictions on what they are. I'll just look for them and put them out.
Now this was definitely a constructed deck at the time.
You can't search for them and then put them out. You can do one or the other.
Yeah, except in 9 mana you get to do both.
Yeah, if you entwine them.
So is this card played in Modern?
I've seen it. I was actually just doing a fun test deck last night and encountered a Scape Shift deck playing it.
It's pretty interesting.
It's pretty
It was fetching up prime time, and he was also doing some other stuff with Valakut and different things. You know, I can't remember. He had one other thing going on, and then I've also seen it. You know, to fetch up Emrakul and different things like that.
God.
I feel like just casting it for 7 a lot of times, if you have the right kind
Emrakul
of deck,
in hand,
is like, I'm thinking Elish Norn and Primeval Titan, and getting them both out on turn 7, you know, or not even turn 7, because you're obviously ramping in that deck, but...
That's cool.
And the Scape Shift deck was playing like Explore and stuff, so he's getting land out quick.
Yeah.
You know, and casting it quickly. So.
That seems really good.
Verloth the Ancient, 6 mana, 4/7 legendary tree folk, kicker for X. Sapperling creatures and other tree folk creatures get +1/+1. And when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, you get X 1/1 green sap creature tokens. Probably a pretty tough to cast limited card. You know, well, yeah, you're right, just the kicker, but was I guess obviously tree folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reach of branches.
Theme of green. Definitely a theme of green. Verloth feels like an okay card. It's kind of there's not a ton of cards that are double lords. Levisa Cold Eyes is another example of like, or is she a triple lord?
She's triple, I think.
But like double and triple lords, a little more
Rare.
Yeah, a little more rare. Maybe was there a cycle of them I'm like missing or something? What were I guess all the ones from Morningtide were all class specific ones.
And they
just
were
said shamans. They just
the ones that put counters on were class specific, but they had the bannerets were
the bannerets were so they weren't lords, but they did reduce the cost.
They did like a lord-like effect in my opinion.
And then that was a class and a race. Is that how they worked? Okay. So that was an interesting theme of Lorwyn. Woodfall Primus. This is a really funny card because of how popular it is in Commander. Yeah, and I think it's a big part of its playing Commander.
Yeah.
It's an 8.
Almost positive.
Yeah, because I don't really see you able to play this too often in Modern. 8 mana, 6/6 trample, Treefolk Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-creature permanent, and it has persist. So
it's great with Mighty Emergence.
Really cool card in Commander. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it probably doesn't see much modern play. A little too expensive. Not quite bangy enough. All right, I guess we're nearing 2 hours here, so I think we're just going to start our draft. We'll have to do the rest of these some other time.
So we got through all the way through green. That's cool. That's all.
So far, what do you think? Overall impression of Modern Masters? Impressed? Unimpressed?
I'd love to draft it. I don't anticipate buying a box.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be cool to sit on a box of that, but
It'd be a good investment. I mean, if you just got $300 to invest, I think it'd be.
Yeah, but like Jay said, I think you got to sit on it. That's something you sit on. And just later, because it's got such a limited
Print run.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason why it's worth just sitting on.
How many times have you drafted block here, Alex? I've only drafted it once.
Quite a bit. I think probably close to like 20 times already or something like that. But yeah, so I could probably help you a little bit. This one, show you sort of what my mentality is when I go into these. These are so much fun, by the way.
Yeah, one time I did it was pretty fun.
Yeah, you did. So last Wednesday was your first. Okay.
Just at the shop. I haven't drafted it all.
You did pretty good though. What was your record?
2-1.
Yeah. Who'd you lose to?
You.
I'd actually forgotten that. I wasn't trying to rub it in.
Double Firefish Striker.
Oh, that's right.
My own mull was 6. Yeah, I drafted. I went Orzhov was my draft. And then I splashed what I splashed for a little bit of green for putrefying. A couple other cards.
Oh, that's right. Did you have like you had Tide Drinker?
Yep, Tide Drinker. I had 3 good extort cards. I had 1 Tide Drinker.
Did you have Kingpin's
1
Pet?
Kingpin's Pet and 1 Basilica Screecher.
Those are all the best ones.
Oh, they're so hard to get all the extort cards.
I know. And by the end, it was funny. At Triple Gate Crash, I was picking Screechers before Kingpin's Pets because I'd rather be more open to going into Dimir. So I'd sacrifice the power for the.
And Screecher works really well with Cypher cards.
All right, looks like we're starting here. All right.
Renounce the guilds.
So rare is Renounce. I'm not going to first pick that. It's pretty funny first pick if anybody did it. This pack also has Haunter, which I think is probably the best card in this pack. There's also Sin Collector, which is good. Has the Snare Squad, which is good. Armored Wolf Rider, which I like. Weapon Surge is a good trick. Haunter is a very, very strong card. I like it a lot. And I've actually had a pretty moderate amount of success with Dimir in triple, or the full block, I mean. So I think first pick's Haunter here. Kind of signal are we passing? I guess we're passing an Orzhov signal. Passing not too much of a signal other than that. A white signal of some sort.
Very strong white signal.
Yep. So white in any way, shape, or form. Be it Selesnya, this is good in Boros. Guildgate. Pretty happy to pick up the Haunter here. It doesn't look like we're passing a Dimir signal whatsoever. And Haunter's just, like I said, an amazing card for that deck. Wow, second pick Beckon Call. You know, I'm really not opposed to taking that. I've already gotten a chance to play it, and I really liked it. But Maze Abomination, clearly good with Haunter. There's also Moab the Obsidian, Flux Charger, Pilfered Plans, Mastiff. Another Armored Wolf Rider. Plenty of playable cards in here. I'm actually okay with picking up Beckon Call. I really do think this is a high power level card. It looks like they took an uncommon over it, but just playing it as a 6 mana, yep, I like that. I've played it for full value, been really happy. If you pick up any sort of Axebane, if we go Simic instead of this Haunter route, I mean, it lets you play Esper, and you could still run like a Prism or any sort of Guildgate and make the green work. You know, super late game.
Yeah.
Transguild Promenade. There's actually a lot of ways to do it.
It's not even necessary to play back.
Yeah, you don't have to. Totally. But if you can make that work, I would recommend it. Yeah, so I think I actually like this more than the Maze Abomination, which is probably my second choice. Maybe Pilfered Plans, but probably Maze Abomination. Okay. Next, we have Fatal Fumes, which has been deceptively good. I like it more.
It's good removal.
There's also Orzhov Guildgate, Obsidian's Aid, Cluestone, Azorius Cluestone. Yeah, so any of those.
Yeah.
Maybe too early for Guildgate, although Guildgates are surprisingly more difficult to get in full block than I've noticed. People are very, they're high picks. Fatal Fumes, I think, is worth the pick here. It is a powerful removal spell, and just splashing for call is still okay, you know? So, I think I'm going to take that. Obsidian's Aid is cool and all. and I actually totally think it's playable. Well, I guess, how do you feel about that? I mean, it is a rise for the game for any permanent, you know?
Yeah,
How
it's only really great if you
you don't have a good permanent right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
That's right.
but you can get them later, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
Maybe.
5 seconds.
Yeah, take the fatal fumes.
Okay. I think that card's actually probably pretty good,
It's
though.
not terrible. It's just you didn't have anything yet.
Yeah.
Worth getting.
Not yet. It's early, though. Has the Snare Squad here. Looks fine since he's doubles as a really good blocker. But there's also Orzhov Cluestone,
And it's always Cluestone.
which is good. And Azorius Cluestone. Scapland Giant card that I get all the flack for always.
I like that card.
Drafting them out of color. I love this card.
I like that card.
Don't encourage me to pick it. People get mad. Has the Snare Squad. Looks just fine here. But I don't mind getting a Cluestone as well. I mean, we also just have Toil, which is a little more expensive Sign in Blood, but easier to cast in a Esper deck, you know?
Yeah, sure. I guess.
So what do you think?
I'd rather have that has the Snare Squad.
I'd go Snare Squad.
Good blocker. I like him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Wow, Rot Farm Skeleton's cool, but another Fatal Fumes feels fine. I guess they're actually pretty good alongside Snare Squad. Hired Torture, also good.
Yeah.
Deceptively good.
Mm-hmm.
Also Protect and Serve, which if you're just playing it for Protect 2,
it's
sure
not
it's fine.
terrible.
No, it's fine. And I could see you getting full value and being good too.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to Protect and Serve. I like Fatal Fumes. Maybe for diversity, we could pick Protect and Serve. Otherwise, Hired Torture is fine. What do you think?
Probably not going to be pushed into any Defender deck, I suppose, but maybe. I mean, Hired Torturers also go very late.
Yeah.
I kind of like Protect and Serve.
I think that the Torture could table.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take the Protect and Serve. Just sort of.
There's Cluestones out of that.
Jake and I have been pretty unimpressed with this card, and I think we've sort of both stated that we think it's one of the worst of the full cycle. I don't even think it's the worst. Like maybe that discard to one where you return.
Oh, that one is the worst.
Yeah, so I think this is. This is like close to the worst one.
Yeah.
But okay, this pack has got Mastiff, Pilfered Plans, Maze Abomination.
We're not getting
fairly late Armored Wolf Raider
at all. That's good.
Yeah, we're cut off from blue quite a bit.
Yeah, you're right. We haven't even cut blue. So Maze Abomination feels fine here.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to that. Mastiff's fine too.
Yeah, Mastiff's
it's a 2-drop. Maze Abomination I just really like. We could just take the bear over the Maze Abomination, but I actually think Abomination's the strongest one.
Probably.
It's a worthy 6-drop, I will say that.
Slow format.
Yeah.
Definitely slower than before. Alright, here we could do Deputy. Even though you said yourself we're getting a little bit pushed out of blue, I still think Deputy is pretty good, and there's good applications for it. With any sort of into the battlefield creature we can get in the later 2 packs. I think I like it more than Steeple Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's also a surprise blocker. Sometimes they attack into something that they ordinarily wouldn't attack with, and then you get,
it's
nice
true.
little trade.
I've gotten
Deputy's pretty good.
Windrake.
Okay. Wow, that's a really late Thrashing Moss Dog.
Yeah.
I like the Windrake.
There's 3 flyers in this pack.
Yeah. Actually, so we're still a fairly good mix of the 3.
I guess
do we want the Drake or the Windrake? Really, even though it can't block?
I feel like we might be going into black more than we're into blue.
Could be right. So Ixnay on the fixing, let's just get a flyer. I think I'm down with that. I guess I can go with that plan. But then we're kind of passing more blue to them. I guess.
Yep.
Alright, here I think Orzhov or Azorius. If you're saying blue's a splash, then Azorius might make more sense.
Yep.
Okay. Let's do that. Gets us a turn 4 Haunter. Alright, another Maze Abomination. I'm actually happy that we tabled that. I like having a couple of them.
Okay.
And there's not much else on color for us. A really late Armored Wolf Rider, which is surprising.
Those go stupidly late.
Yeah.
It really drives me crazy.
Hired Torture, we did table it. So otherwise, Restore the Peace is actually playable, especially when you have high toughness blockers, even though you have to return them too. Sometimes it can be really... It actually returns Zertod Druid too, which is kind of cool. Let's do Hired Torture. Here, another Azorius Cluestone. I think we're just going to take that over the Bane Alley Blackguard. So we already have a couple pieces of fixing. That's good news. Well, we can take the Maze Sentinel, most likely not playing it. I don't think it's likely we're playing the
You could also
Uncovered
take
Clues.
the Cluestone just to screw fixing out of people.
I guess. I mean, I'm not going to play the Maze Sentinel. Sometimes you just want to cut color, too.
That's true. But I don't know. I haven't really seen anybody play Maze that much.
I mean, it's early. Early on, like pack 1, I really want my opponent to know what the hell I'm in, because then it's like, look, I'm going to hook you up, you hook me up.
So you
We both want
you like
good
the
decks.
ally draft strategy?
I think it's a better idea than hating, because all you really end up doing is hating is sending mixed signals, and then when you do that, your opponent sort of has to your opponents sort of have to, like, figure out what they're going to do, and they're going to intrude more on your color. There's more of a chance that they're intruding, because you're intruding on theirs. So I think if you want the best consistent good deck, you pretty much have to do signaling at all times during the first pack. Next couple, hating is probably okay, but definitely the first pack's an important one. So far, I like where we're at. I think this is perfectly fine. Wow. So we got Spark Trooper. I think Bane Alley Broker's going to be the pick.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the rest yet, though. There's Screecher, Syndic, Ground Assault. A lot of good cards. Gridlock's good card for the right deck. I mean, I do want the Syndic and the Screecher, but I think the Broker is just one of my faves. I really like the Bane Alley Broker a lot. I think that looter effect is very strong. If you have any way to boost it, if we have a Maze Abomination, actually has Death Touch. It's kind of funny. It is.
Spark Trooper would be really great with Death Touch.
Yeah. Screecher and Syndic are both good. Like I said, it really sucks I have to pass those, but I think the Broker is actually worth it. They're close. I'll say that. Breeding Pool, worth a couple tickets. What else we got that's on color? Spy. I like the Spy a lot. Cartel Aristocrat is also a great card. I think I like the Spy more. It's a little more defensive. There's also Mind Eye Drake, which is a really good 5-drop.
Yeah.
Spy is going to work better if we pick up like a Death's Approach, or sometimes you just, well, in my case, mill 11. I've milled 11 off of Balustrade Spy before, which is just insane. But I think I like the Spy the most. It's the best costed. I mean, Mind Eye Drake's really good too. But maybe...
I like Balustrade Spy.
Let's take the Spy.
It blocks Drake. It can't kill Drake.
2/3.
Okay, now we have Raptor, Rogue, Denizen. I like the Rogue here actually quite a bit.
I do too.
It's also Incursion Specialist, which is good, but I've had a lot of good things go on with the Death Call Rogue. I like him a lot.
Also got a Commandos in there.
Yeah, Nav Squad, likely to table that, I think. We could probably pick that up on the other end, so that's cool. I like getting this evasive stuff. All right. This pack, we have another Death Call Rogue, Night Watch, Court Street Denizen, Dimir Guildgate, Krasis, Scarred Guildmage, both excellent cards for their guild. Could take the Dimir Guildgate. It's going to help us get our blue online. I'm not opposed to that. I kind of do want another Rogue. He is a really good creature. So what do you think? Oh, it also gets Death Touch with Maze Abomination, which is pretty cool. So late game when you need it as like a blocker in a pinch alongside.
That's true.
That's pretty good. I kind of really like the... Whoa. Can't believe Trevor's on. That's crazy. Death Cult Rogue, Dimir Guildgate. I mean, the gates are harder to get, but the Rogue is very good.
Yeah, I think that's your choice. You do the gate or
Yeah,
I think I'm going to
those
Rogue.
two
I like that Rogue too much. That was a tough pick. We could take the Enforcer here. There's also Executioner's Swing, which is pretty reasonable removal. I do like to get it at least one Extort spell. And Syndicate Enforcer, typically the worst one, but there's also Basilica Guards. Good point. We look like we're a little bit more of an attacking deck.
I think you are. Your curve's fair, though.
What do you think? Enforcer or Executioner Swing or Guards?
I'd rather have the Enforcer.
There's also a Spotlight in this deck.
Yeah,
all right, let's take the Enforcer.
You got this. You got the Snare Squad. So.
Ooh,
okay.
We
can do Prophetic Prism here, which would turn on the Beckon Call, believe it or not, and it would kind of reward. Actually, the Golgari Cluestone. It's kind of funny you mentioned that, because that's another fixing for Beckon Call. You know what I mean? There's a Mana Rock as well. So I'm not opposed to Prism or Guildgate here. Prism's kind of cool, actually. I kind of like what it does.
You can't trip up.
I'd rather play it than Golgari Cluestone.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's take the Prism here, just so we have a means to turn that green on. Well, Thespian Stage, we're just talking about that. All right, in this pack remaining for us, Paranoid Delusions, Slate Street Ruffian, Spell Rupture. I guess we could take the Delusions, maybe. probably more likely I'm playing that than... I guess we take the Spell Rupture, too. This card's actually playable. Counterspells have become more playable in the full block. I've noticed that. We can try it out. We've got some high-power creatures.
Big guys, yeah.
Even countering
Even
2 mana,
power,
2 is playable. All right.
Oh, wow.
Now we have Aetherize, Corpse Blockade, Totally Lost. I think I'm... Or is off Guildgate, too. Another Guildgate that's on color. I like the Aetherize quite a bit.
It blows games out.
Yeah, it totally does. And how many times have we been like, God, if they have an Aetherize, we're screwed, you know? So it really does do that. And then they have to play around it in the future, which can be good. Gridlock actually looks like it's reasonable in this deck because we're an evasive deck.
Yeah.
So being able to get in...
That way the Thieves could play too.
Yeah, but we don't have a gate yet.
Yeah, well, let's take the Gridlock. I feel like we might be able to make that work. All right, we tabled Sage's Road Denizen. I'm pretty happy about that. Not because we have a ton of blue creatures, but just 3 mana, 2/3s. Always pretty good.
Yeah.
This deck, too. There's also Beckon and Shielded Passage. But let's take the
We have
Sage's
a
Road.
few blue creatures. We have 6.
We have enough. All right, Skyblinder Staff is actually a reasonable sideboard card. There's also Horror of the Dim, which is playable, but I'm not sure I want it in here. We didn't end up getting any Cipher abilities.
No.
To note, interestingly.
We won't be.
I guess
getting
Paranoid Delusions, but
Did we even pick that
I don't
one
even think so.
up?
Maybe we did, I don't know. I'm going to take the Skyblinder Staff. It's a reasonable sideboard spell. Alright, Midnight Recovery actually has Cipher, and it's actually decent when you have evasive cards, so I could see us possibly playing Midnight Recovery, sideboarding into it.
Okay.
Alright, tabled Armored Transport, so we'll take that. Possibly playing it.
Fine.
Crackling Perimeter, second to last. We'll stop that Omega Gate deck. We've lost to that before.
Really?
Yeah, totally. That guy probably had like a...
I played Crackling Perimeter. I played it at GP Charlotte.
Did you get any value off of it?
A
Occasionally.
little bit. It
Okay.
drew some hate.
Yeah.
All right.
Play that much.
If it could hit
We're-
creatures, it'd be so much
We're
better.
on to Return to Ravnica. So we
Yeah.
actually have Transguild
Promenade.
Promenade's going to help us play the Beck on Beck and Call. When we have that many rocks, it's not the worst idea. But there's also Underworld Connections, which is a really good card.
Really good, you know.
I feel like that one, I feel like actually Underworld got better in full block, don't you?
Why?
Just because the format slowed down a little
Oh,
bit.
okay.
Underworld was a lot
Yeah.
worse when it was triple return and triple
Yeah.
gate crash because there was the Nuts
Well,
Rakdos
triple
deck.
return.
See, let's just say Underworld Connections still bad if your opponent, and even in full block, if your opponent is any sort of aggressive strategy.
Yeah.
But if they're any sort of slower strategy, Underworld can be like an omega way to gain card advantage. There's also Launch Party in here. Blood Fray for the and Annihilating Fire for the red player is unfortunate. But what do you think? Promenade, Underworld, Launch Party, Rune Wings, totally playable. I think I like either Transguild, Underworld, or Launch Party, though. Those are the 3 I'm at.
Ugh. I don't know. Any one of those are fine.
I guess I'm going to go with Launch Party. It's a solid removal spell. I couldn't get everybody to agree on that.
Mahamodi Jin.
Yeah, we could take the Sphinx of the Chimes. Do we have 2 non-land cards with the same name? Yeah, we have a couple Death Cults, but we kind of want to play them. A couple Maze Abominations. Yeah. It doesn't matter. You just played as Mahamodi Jin, but there's also Long Legs in here, which is probably easier for us to cast. Maybe not, though. I'd probably going to take the Sphinx. There's also Sunspire Griffin in here, which is kind of difficult to cast. We're almost light white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very
We're almost like splash white. So for that reason, let's take the Sphinx. Let's get a nice bomby in-game creature.
Good bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Longlegs is cooler with the Maze Abomination, but this thing
There's
flies.
some other Runes that could table
It's really good.
Void Wielder.
Void Wielder's insane. In this next pack, there's also Crosstown Courier, Gate Creeper Vine, Cellar. A lot of good
There's
stuff.
good stuff.
Let's take the Void
but
Wielder.
we want that.
Yeah, slam him. Yeah, it looks like we're just a black-blue deck, maybe. Maybe we don't even need that much fixing.
The third Rune Wing.
Maybe we're not. Well, then the Beck and Call just with the Clue Stones. We'll see. Maybe we're not even playing those. I'm not sure yet. So if we're going to be black-blue, then let's
like
sort of focus on that.
Evasion, right?
Yeah. Well, let's take Rune Wing then.
Yeah.
Let's get a flyer.
Yeah, let's just keep going flying.
And there's some other ones that could table earlier.
All right. Now Syncopate, which is actually better in
Rogue's Passage, very good
Rogue's
too.
Passage. Most of our guys are evasive already, so
Yeah.
it's probably unnecessary. I'm not opposed to taking Syncopate here. Terrace Worm's a cool little 7-drop too. If you can get it in your graveyard, I guess we'll take Syncopate. It's totally playable. Counterspells are good when you're evasive as well. It's a late Nightly Valor. I think we'll take the Xanacab Locust. out of this pack. There's also Rites of Reaping, Zorius Justiciar, Terrace-Worm, Knightly Valor. We'll take the Locust. It's actually a good 6-drop. Scavenge is super strong.
Tower Drake.
Here we have Tower Drake. It's also Dispel, SAR Patrol, Monitor. Tower Drake, even without the white, we'll just play it as a little flyer. Downsize is playable as a combat trick.
Is Deviant Glee fine?
You're right. Let's try the Deviant Glee here. We have enough evasion with the Death Cult Rogues and the Flyers, or we can probably make it work. And that, if that's gonna be our game plan, then let's try and consolidate our picks here a little bit. It's a late Brush Strider. I'm pretty surprised. Avenging Arrow, Blister Quo, weird. You take the arrow just because we can splash for it if we need to in a pinch.
It's also removal too.
Okay. Probably not playing white. Alright, we can take Codex Shredder, but I kind of like the Terrace Worm for cutting white too. I don't know. I like Terrace Worm. I think it got better in full block. It's like a one of.
He's big.
I mean, we still have the option to splash for Beck and Call. It's really
I would
up
take
to.
out the Golgari Cluestone.
It's really up to us how much, if we even want to splash, because it looks like right now we really don't have to.
We probably don't need the armored transport with 20 creatures.
I mean, let's just cut white now and look what it would look like. We'll even cut the Protect and Serve and the Beck and Call. We can leave in the Prism. Let's take out the Clue Stones. Let's take out the white. Let's see where we're at. Alright, so sans any white in this deck, and we actually still can make cuts. So, looks
take
like
out the transport.
Alright, I think we're going to take the Courier here just as like a bear.
Yeah, we need those.
Take out the Transport.
You're heavy.
You take out the Torture. 25 spells here.
Midnight Recovery.
Probably take out the Spell Rupture. I thought I took that out already.
Oh, okay.
I did. Let's take the Cancel here. What are we cutting? We actually have quite a few good playables. We don't look like we're necessarily an aggressive deck, so maybe we don't need the Courier. We look like we're a little bit slower and evasive. Mind Route for sideboard can be good. We look like we have some good tricks, and we have some good evasion. It's just, we do sort of want to get to the later game. We're a little more of a mid-range deck with some good evasion.
Rites of Reaping.
Yeah. See, it's funny how bad Rites of Reaping was in triple Return to Ravnica.
I liked it.
But now in full block, it is better, in my opinion.
I haven't liked it in Ravnica.
I think people had a problem with it because it was just too expensive.
6, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like...
A little cost prohibitive, but it is a powerful effect. Kill something, make my guy bigger for a turn. It's good. Let's put in the Prism still. Maybe we can cut the Prism, actually. I guess it's not like we're super color intensive.
If we're color, then we don't need it.
Yeah, so then that could be our last card we cut, probably. Let's put in these Abominations. I guess the Abominations aren't that useful. The only multicolor cards we have really are Haunter and 2 Death Cult Rogues, which is fine.
Well, we could cut one Abomination
But,
then.
well, see, the thing is about Abominations, they're amazing on their own. They're 4/5 Death Touch, so they still kill everything.
But we already have
We'll see where we're at.
Or without one.
Oh, because of the Terrace Worm, too?
Because of the Sphinx, too.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Maybe we're not playing the Terrace Worm. Alright, this is 21.
I wouldn't play Terrace Worm.
Okay. If we're not going to do the rocks, we can still do Syncopate. We can still do Crosstown Courier. So this is 23. Kind of like Deviant Glee on a Crosstown Courier. So this is 23. We could cut the Prism, put in Cancel, have another counter spell. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Okay. Otherwise, we have 16 creatures.
We have 16 creatures.
It's not like totally outlandish.
No, I think I'd rather have the Cancel though.
Okay.
I do think I'd rather pay the extra blue, especially since we're only a 2-color deck.
Okay.
I think that's much more realistic. So this deck looks fine. We have enough creatures. The quality on the creatures is good enough where I could see us. Really, we're just a deck that's trying to disrupt our opponent's strategy and just picking away at them the whole game. I think that's really the plan, evasively in some way, shape, or form. Gaining some card advantage via Bane Alley Broker and Rune Wing to a certain extent. And yeah, I think this looks good. Gridlock, like I said, does look good in this deck, actually, because we look like we can hold them off late enough. I think Deviant Glee is actually... It's kind of funny that Deviant Glee ended up in this deck, because I actually think it's good enough. I guess the Crosstown Courier is like the creature I'm least impressed with. Maybe we could find some sort of swap for it. It's not that I hate it, because it is a bear and it trades with stuff, but I feel like because we're more of a late game deck, I'd rather have almost like a ramp, maybe, or I guess we really don't have much else. It's either that or armored transport.
Or a clue stone.
I mean, transport at least gets to keep attacking in. Or which one?
Or clue stone.
Or a clue stone. But the clue stones do just seem sort of pointless since we don't have any sort of...
Since they're all at 3.
Yeah, and there's nothing necessary to really...
Like, if you don't want to play the
into.
courier, then I would play the prism, because at least then you've got
It's a
something
cantrip
for
or
2
something.
that just replaces itself.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess we can try courier main deck.
You might as well.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a bear.
16 creatures is nice. It is a bear in a color scheme that typically doesn't have access to a ton of good bears. It's got 2 power. He's a what's the merfolk? That was a 2-mana.
Coral
2,
merfolk.
yeah, with an extra ability.
Mm-hmm.
What more can he ask for? He's almost too good.
Yes, that's how I would describe
All
it.
right, so we definitely need more blues and black. We only need 1 black really, and we need double blue on at least 2 spells. So we'll see what they say. They probably 9/8. I think that's reasonable. We definitely want to see black at every point in the game.
Yeah.
I guess we actually want to see blue early more.
Why?
So we, just because Deathcall Rogue doesn't really care if you're playing blue or the only one really is Rakdos Drake, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'm still willing to go the even split.
High.
Okay. So
9/8 seems fine.
that's going to be this podcast. Hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch the matches for this draft, go to SeemsGoodMagic.com. I'll have them posted at the same time I post this podcast. You can reach me at Mortarpod at SeemsGoodMagic.com. That's where I reply to any comments you have, or if you want to post on the website or anything like that. Twitter, follow us at SeemsGoodMagic. Tristan, do you have Twitter? Do you do Twitter? You're not a tweeter?
Not a tweeter. Don't tweet.
That's okay. I pretty much just tweet because it really helps with like when you have like a website or something.
Of course.
Same way you're doing new content. We live stream. Jake and I do Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 p.m. Central Time. Been having a blast with that. A lot of people have stopped out and talked to us, and I really want to shout outs to all the people that have donated tickets. I think how do you pronounce this? Like Any Can See or something like that. It's hard to pronounce his name, his screen name or whatever it was, but
you never know where the breaks are supposed to be either.
He paid for one of our drafts, and I really appreciated it. And Travis Bewley is the name of another guy who donated before. He's also contributed some videos to the website, so that was really cool of him. All right, that's it for the podcast. Hope you had a good one. Tristan, thanks for stopping out. I appreciate it, man. See you guys later.
See you later.